in the Big Apple to close out the 2014 season. Still looking to get to 70 wins. They hope to do it tonight, finishing strong against an interleague opponent. Get your programs. Astros baseball starts right now.
And then there were three. That's where the Astros find themselves. 3 games remaining on the year, and they'll hook those up with the Mets right here at New York City Field. Brad Peacock tries to halt the Stros' recent skid as he goes against Mets lefty John Neese. Hi, everybody. Alan Ashby and Jeff Blum with you. Julia Morales joins in just a little while. We've come to the final weekend of the season. What kind of attitude do the guys have this time of year?
I think they're going to be about as relieved as we are up here in the booth. They've played hard, knowing there's 3 games left, give it their all, and then shut it down after this weekend.
Jose Altuve has been giving it his all season long. A great year, and now he's involved in a batting race against a fellow Venezuelan, Victor Martinez, who had 3 hits for the Tigers yesterday.
Pretty impressive. You might as well just label Venezuela the hitting capital of the world, considering what you're seeing these guys do on the screens right now. Cargo has a batting title under his belt, but this guy right here, Miguel Cabrera, 11, 12, and 13. Those back-to-back years of batting titles are pretty impressive, and he's just going to pass the torch on to another Venezuelan in Jose Altuve, who's been lighting it up all year. Jose's also on pace to have a historic season, becoming the first player since Ty Cobb in Major League history to have more than 220 hits, 55 extra base hits, and 55 stolen bases. So hopefully an epic end to this season for Jose Altuve.
Yeah, and you just saw his grand slam in Boston that he had earlier in the year. He's just been phenomenal in every direction. Appreciated by a whole lot of big stars as well. And, of course, he's been stealing the bags on top of that. The other thing, Chris Carter has a chance. Still, it's slim, but an outside chance to win that home run title this year, Blummer.
Yeah, he really does. That pop has turned around. The first couple months of the season, not so much. I didn't imagine we'd be here right now talking about Chris Carter as one of those league leaders with home runs, considering how hard it was for him to make contact early on. But the young man's gotten in the cage, worked with John Maley, shortened down that stroke, and really shut down chasing some of those pitches on that outer edge. You can see he's got enough plate coverage already. It's just a matter of letting that ball travel and get to him, and now he's a dominant threat in that batter's box. One swing of the bat from Chris Carter can alter a game, and opposing managers are starting to notice that.
The season's final weekend is coming way too soon for one Astro, whose roller coaster 2014 has reached a high point and created lofty expectations for next season. Julia has more on Jake Marisnick when we return. Houston Astros baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is
Back in New York, facing the Mets in their final series of the 2014 season. It's finally here, and a lot of these guys on this team, the rookies, finishing up their first year in the big leagues, really. Jake Marisnick being one of those rookies who came to the Astros by way of a trade back on July 31st. And coming in, the numbers offensively were not good. He struggled early with the Astros as well, but something changed in Jake Marisnick, and we have seen a great player offensively and defensively. Looking at some of the speed of Jake Marisnick here, infield singles seemed to be the only thing he was doing early, but then we saw some of that power. He had back-to-back nights where he had 3-run home runs. The slugging percentage coming up, we'll have more on that in just a second, but defensively, never a struggle there for Jake Marisnick, running down balls in center, right, and left for the Astros, filling in when Dexter Fowler was out, and of course with Springer being out, he has filled a void there in right field. And offensively, talking about his struggles early, you can see the numbers, 167 there in the beginning, but wow, it's come up gradually. 302 in the month of September. The slugging, as I mentioned, coming up with those home runs. We've seen 3 since August 8th. He's finally putting it together, just feeling more comfortable at this level. And he said if you go back and look throughout his career at the numbers, each time he did make a jump, he struggled with the transition. It was something about just being at a new level, seeing different kind of pitchers, and eventually he figured it out, and he feels that way here. He's also gotten a lot of help from hitting coach John Maley. They knew each other before from the Marlins organization before coming up here, so already very comfortable with him, and he's feeling good about where he'll be in the competition come spring training, in 2015. Can you believe we're already looking ahead? Don't go anywhere. This is going to be fun. HOU Altuve. It's all about this guy. Final 3 games of the year. Can he get the job done against the bright lights of the Big Apple and the Mets? Ash and Blummer are back with the call when we come back.
Sun does set in the Big Apple. The Astros getting set for the first of 3 here with the Mets over the weekend. That's going to do it for the season for both of these ball clubs. Hard to believe that sun has risen and setting now on the Major League Baseball season. Left-hander John Neese gets it ready to face the Astros tonight. And that lineup for the Astros this evening brought to you by Jack in the Box. As the Astros under Tom Lawless will line him up with Robbie Grossman in the top spot. He's in left, followed by second baseman Jose Altuve in chase of that batting title this year. Chris Carter is in the 3 spot at first base. Middle 3, Dexter Fowler in center. At third base, Matt Dominguez, and Jake Marisnick, who Julia just talked about. He's in right. Bottom 3, shortstop Jonathan Villar doing the catching. Carlos Corcoran, and Brad Peacock gets his final start for the Astros.
On the mound for the New York Mets, left-hander Jonathan Nice. This will be his 30th start of the season. He's got 182 and a third innings pitch. He'd like to go long and strong, get into that 190 range, match a career high that he had in 2012. 21 of his last 29 starts have been quality starts for Jonathan Nice.
Terry Collins, former Astros manager, in the dugout for the Mets. Mets thought they were going to have a big year this year. They thought they could win more than 90 games. It has not played out that way. The Mets start the day 77 and 82. The Astros 69 and 90. And so a couple of clubs just trying to finish out strong. The Astros have been on a slide, beaten 3 straight by the Texas Rangers, who have been playing great baseball. They've now won 11 of 12. So the Astros were not up against a soft touch. Robbie Grossman leads it off. And Nice with that first pitch of the night. Fastball at 86 sails high. Interesting on John Nice. Get to in just a moment as he evens the count at a ball and a strike. He was born on the same day that the Mets won their second World Series. Does that make a guy destined to play for that club?
Apparently.
2-1 the count to Robbie, who loves to go deep in the count. In Little League and later in high school, John Nice was a teammate of LA Dodgers starting pitcher Chad Billingsley. So he had a little competition at his side, and it apparently drove both guys. Robbie Grossman has been swinging a hot bat. He's hit in 7 straight. Trying to get something started now. 2-2 count is grounded foul.
Oh, that's not going to count. Listash.
It's his first on the year, though, and so it's been a strong year defensively down at the third base box.
Yeah, but it's how you finish. It's off to a rough start.
You know, it's all in the attitude, how you want to take it. I think he's had a great year. You think he finished poorly. Down on strikes, Robbie Grossman. That's the first out of the night. And it brings up Jose Altuve in bid for that batting title. And it's a tight battle right now after Victor Martinez picked up 3 hits and 4 at-bats yesterday for the Tigers.
Yeah, but Victor's going to have to keep doing that throughout the rest of the season, these last 3 games, for him to catch up to Altuve. I have a feeling Altuve is going to finish out pretty strong. He's only hitting, good grief, .420 against left-handed pitchers this year.
Let's see. John Nice happens to be a left-handed pitcher, so this should set up well for Jose Altuve.
On his career, he's hitting .348 against left-handed pitchers. Those are big numbers.
So it doesn't sound like there's any fluke involved there. He takes a high strike. For Jose, it was not a big series against the Texas Rangers. Had just 2 hits in that series. Chops one foul, tough pitch.
And that .420 average against left-handed pitching also leads Major League Baseball. So that's another thing that Jose Altuve is leading all of Major League Baseball in.
Yesterday, of course, an off day for the Astros. A couple of days ago, Jose went 1 for 3, drew a walk in that game. Had a couple of stolen bases. It's a fly ball to right field. So that first at bat of the night is going to result in a fly out to right. Second out for the Astros in the first inning. It brings up Chris Carter.
Take a jaunt around Citi Field. See who's playing behind Jonathan Nice. You just saw Curtis Granderson out there in right field making the play. In center field, Matt Dendecker. In left field, Eric Young Jr. Across the infield, Daniel Murphy at third. Ruben Tejada at shortstop. Wilmer Flores at second base, and Lucas Duda at first base. Anthony Recker will be your catcher.
So 2 down, bases empty for Carter. And we mentioned in the open that Carter still has a shot at that home run title this year. Slim as it might be, but get that bat hot and you never know what might happen. Nelson Cruz leads with 40 bombs, not only in the American League but in the big leagues. Of course, Giancarlo Stanton for Miami has been on the DL for some time now and still standing at 37 home runs in the National League. Carter pops it foul on the right side, and this will be back in the seats.
Be interesting to see how the Mets pitch Chris Carter. We saw the last series in Texas, the big time shift put on. They were pounding him inside. Here, the Mets are just playing him straight up.
2 balls and a strike on Chris. You saw the big names there in home runs this year. Again, Carter fouls it to the right side. David Ortiz has 35 bombs, as does Jose Bautista and Mike Trout. Some guys with some pretty big years being had. Lays off that breaking ball, and you can see how quiet he is with those hands and the body. Jonathan Nice to the plate, and it's chopped to third on 2 hops. Backhanded by Murphy. He'll make the play, and that'll do it for Houston. A 1-2-3 first inning. We're scoreless after a half. New York, beautiful new ballpark for the New York Mets. 3 games to go on the season for the New York Mets of Terry Collins. It'll be Eric Young Jr. in the top spot. He's the left fielder, followed by second baseman Wilmer Flores and third baseman Daniel Murphy. Middle 3 in the order, Lucas Duda. He leads the club in home runs. In right field, Curtis Granderson. He's had a rough year. Matt Dendecker is in center. In the bottom 3 doing the catching tonight, Anthony Recker. At shortstop, Ruben Tejada. And doing the pitching, Jonathan Nice.
On the mound for your Houston Astros, right-hander Brad Peacock. Not a do-or-die start for him, but it would be nice if he could finish strong. He's actually pitching quite well here in September. In 3 starts, he's 1-1 with a 2.45 ERA. Didn't pitch so well last time out against the Seattle Mariners. Only went 3 1/3 innings, threw 81 pitches in that game. But he's pitched well here at Citi Field. He's 1-0 in the 1 game he started, has not allowed an earned run yet.
Lumber, you think it's on Brad Peacock to prove at some point that he can stay healthy and maintain a 5-man rotation for some period of time?
Yeah, I definitely think it's on him. I'm not sure if this is the start that's going to do it, but I think going into next year, the biggest concern with Brad Peacock is getting him past 5 innings. It seems like he's a 5-and-dive type guy just because of the control problems he has, and the pitch counts get way up, and he can't extend himself deep in games.
Eric Young quickly has an 0-2 count without swinging the bat. Of course, this is the son of Eric Young, who was a part of our pre- and post-game shows last year and did a great job, by the way. Wore some very fine clothing.
Now he's out in Colorado, back doing some coaching.
Yep.
It's a good place for EY to be.
Yeah, heart's on the field. Ball and 2 strikes. Breaking ball grounded to the right side. Altuve's there. And your first out against the Mets.
And you just saw Jose Altuve again at second base. Get used to seeing that for the years to come for Houston Astros. Right next to him up the middle is going to be Jonathan Villar at short. Matt Dominguez at third. Across the diamond is Chris Carter playing first base in this National League ballpark. Around the outfield, Marisnik in right, Fowler in center, Grossman in left field, and Carlos Corcoran getting the catching duties tonight here in New York.
We'll bring up the two-hitter, second baseman Wilmer Flores. Right-hand hitter. Strike at the knees, outside corner. It was 1962 when both of these franchises began play in the National League. And now the Astros, having moved to the American League, haven't played the Mets since 2012. The Astros were 4-2 against the Mets that year. And the Astros lead the all-time series against New York. Brad Peacock cares not at all about any of those stats. It's all about tonight's game.
Tell you what, I had a lot of fun listening to you and Keith Hernandez talking about those mid-'80 matchups that you had with the New York Mets. That was good stuff.
Keith Hernandez is one of the broadcasters now with the Mets and does a great job here in New York. And he was accusing, I think I heard something accusatory there about Astros clubs and their pitching styles. Swing and a miss, down on strikes is Flores, second out here in the first inning. It'll bring up third baseman Daniel Murphy. So I don't know if I appreciate that.
Well, I was going to say, I should have rephrased. I should have said, after he got done screaming at you for the first 2 minutes, you guys had a pretty good conversation after that.
Of course, I accused him of doctoring the magic loogie that he flung at Kramer way back when.
Still denies it to this day, doesn't he?
He said it was somebody else.
Unbelievable.
So, I don't know. I think we've got a story there.
There's no accountability on both your parts.
Oh, really?
According to Keith.
Well, Keith seemed to be pretty strong about the notion that we might have been trying a little too hard in Houston back in those 80s. I'm not sure about that.
Hey, it worked.
Whatever works, huh?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, it wasn't broke at the time, I know that. There's one of the game's great first basemen of all time. And I know during the days I played, he was the best in the business when you looked at all aspects of the game. And it showed up. He won an MVP award. In fact, he tied with Willie Stargell, I believe, for the MVP award one year.
Wow. Yeah, he was good.
He was tremendous. And defensively at first base, you couldn't beat him. If there was a bunt on, he'd be in your face. He would challenge you to try to hit a ball by him. He'd get on the ball so quickly he would get the lead out. And if you bunted it on the third base side, he'd get there and still make the play.
Just remember that stance he had, kind of closed off, those arms way out there, and just dive on top of the plate and just rake some stuff.
He could swing the bat. Breaking ball, grounded to Altuve. He'll make a couple of plays in the first inning. We've played one scoreless here from Citi Field.
It's time for you to tweet your photos using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming broadcast that is brought to you by AT&T. Ash mentioned earlier that Rangers series was tough on Altuve, only 2 hits, but offensively it was tough on the entire club, only scoring 2 runs in the last 2 games of that series as they were swept. Tom Lawless not wanting the team to go out that way with just 3 games remaining in the season. So he told him today he wants everybody to be more aggressive. We want to produce some runs, but I want some hits first, guys.
Thanks, Julia. And I think that's key. It's intriguing what's gone on around Major League Baseball with take first and swing later. And if you look at the stats around Major League Baseball, it may not be playing out to the benefit of the hitters. Of course, the bullpens are a big part of what goes on. Here's a line shot off the bat of Dexter Fowler into center field. First base runner of the night. And the first hit, of course. So Fowler is now hitting 7 straight as he's at first. Nobody out for Matt Dominguez.
Ball was smoked up the middle. It's about as pure as you can hit a line drive, right back up the middle. And there's a guy with a high on base percentage that has a tendency to take a lot of pitches, and he gets a fastball in the zone and rips it.
Now Dexter starts the night at 273, and you wonder, is that the best from Dexter, or if he were swinging the bat more, might the batting average be higher? It's a debatable topic, I'm sure.
And everybody's different. Yeah, you know, there's going to be guys that are able to take a little bit more, you know, take a couple more pitches and get deeper in the count that don't have that panic mode. And then you're going to have guys that just want to go up there and hack because they don't want to miss a good pitch early in the count.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It is true that everybody has a different level of confidence taking it to 2 strikes.
It's a lot to ask a guy to take deep into counts here with some of these pitchers we've seen these days.
Fowler has 9 stolen bases. Line shot right at third, and they do not get the double play. Good read by Dexter Fowler getting back to the bag. So that's out number 1 as it brings up Jake Marisnick.
It's too bad. Matty D could use a couple knocks right now. That ball was laced.
And Dominguez had come into play tonight, having hit in 4 straight. All you can do is put good swings on it, and that's the nature of this game. And part of why it's so frustrating, and everybody who's ever taken a bat to home plate knows about it. With 1 out, Marisnick takes a ball. For Jake Marisnick, 280 the batting average, as Julia talked about. He has brought the batting average up. He has brought the power numbers along with him in the process. 3 home runs. He's driven in 19. He's had some big ribbies for the club. He's looked like a major league outfielder and then some, whether it be right field or center, as the count at 1-1. So is Jake Marisnick potentially that guy now that becomes a long-timer in the outfield for the Astros?
You hit 280 and have some sneaky pop every now and then, and you shack balls down like he does in the outfield. Yeah, he's going to be out there for a while.
Big swing comes up empty.
Of course, I have no input on that whatsoever, but...
Well, they don't talk to you.
Not yet. I'm working on that. But I think his play has made a strong case for him.
Jake's been swinging it well. 7 consecutive games he's hit in. Had 1 hit in each of the 3 games against the Rangers. Went 3 for 9 in that series with a double. However, struck out 3 times in that last game. Wednesday at Arlington. And Marisnick down on strikes. Second strikeout picked up by Nice. With 2 down, it brings up the shortstop, Jonathan VR.
It's a pretty good changeup from Nice.
Get that good changeup that's down like that, fading, and you just swing at nothing. So VR getting some considerable playing time here recently. There have been ups and downs defensively. Continues to struggle. 212 is the batting average. 7 dingers on the year. He's got plenty of power. a home run in the Arlington series, batting left-handed. Went 2 for 8 overall in that 3-game set. And the home run we mentioned, also a double. Tom Lawless probably just getting a look at what VR has turned into at the end of this season. Where's Tom Lawless? Adam Everett as well, bouncing around the minor leagues, has had a chance, or they have, to see what guys like VR had been doing on the minor league level. But you've got to watch these guys as well against major leaguers. Runner goes, the pitch, a swing and a miss, the throw down, and they got it. Dexter Fowler caught. So he was trying to pick up his 10th stolen base. Doesn't work out as he's gunned down by Wrecker. That'll do it for Houston. They get a hit, but leave nobody. Thrown out trying to steal, but a challenge has been presented by Tom Lawless, and for good reason, as we get a look from this side.
That was a terrible tag by Flores. Wilmer Flores, the second baseman, coming across to catch that throw. The ball to you and I, Ash, clearly beat the base runner down there at second base. But Tom Lawless successful in his challenge, and you saw in the replay there was no tag. Wilmer Flores needs to do a better job of getting that tag down. What was the count on Jonathan VR?
Well, it was a strike on the last pitch. That much I can tell you. It'll be a stolen base for Dexter, his 10th on the year.
It was one of the more peculiar replays we've seen, I think, all year.
Yeah, I'm with you. It just appeared to be such an easy out, but I guess you just have to say horrible tag effort right there. So Fowler now in scoring position for VR. And the count listed at 1-1. And now 2-1 for Nice.
Now something like that happens. He takes a normal standard break. I mean, is there any way that they're going to give a pitcher a couple extra pitches to get loose? I'm not sure.
Good question.
Because he was standing over there with a couple of the umpires.
Yeah, that's a good question. I imagine if he said, can I have a toss or two, they would have given him 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'd like to think they would.
I believe that's 3-1 now. Yes.
Yes.
Waiting on deck is Carlos Corcoran. We're just in the second inning, first of 3 with the Mets. And that's going to close out this season once these 3 games are down. That changeup is a big part of things.
Pretty nasty, playing on the aggressiveness of Jonathan VR with a runner in scoring position, a 3-1 count, typically a fastball count. But I'm sure Nice realizes that his changeup's pretty good today.
Nice gives up about 9.5 hits per 9 innings on the year, but he doesn't give up many home runs, doesn't walk people. Ground ball to short, handled on One in between hop by Tejada as he gets VR speeding down the line. And this time it's going to do it for the Astros. No runs on a hit. They leave a man in scoring position. We played 1.5. We're scoreless in New York.
Astros and Mets, and the Eli Young Band's house party is coming to Minute Maid Park on November 15th. There will be performances by the Eli Young Band, Josh Abbott Band, Thomas Rhett, and Cody Johnson, and not to mention Julia Morales on drums. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Pretty obvious a band that's driven by the drummer.
Tell you what, modern technology can make anybody sound good, huh?
Well, maybe not. But it must.
I know that's in reference to my singing, and that hurts.
No, that was not. Jeff Blum can really sing, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, if Julia can play drums, I can sing.
Exactly.
Now, if you had been
I'm chiming in and I say exactly.
Exactly. Way to go, Julia.
I just want to know why I haven't gotten a job yet.
That is crazy.
The calls haven't started coming yet?
Not yet.
They're coming. Don't worry about it.
You didn't have any auditions here in New York?
No.
Julia, I tell you what, though, when you do get that gig, remember you need a guitarist to go with you.
Yeah, we got Alan Van Halen up here.
We're in the second inning. Bottom of Lucas Duda, the cleanup man, leads it off, and he is the leader for the Mets in long balls this year. Thanks for taking notice, by the way.
Oh, man, never a doubt, Ash.
28 bombs for Duda. Next most on the Mets club, Curtis Granderson has 19. Duda hitting .251. Fastball drilled sharply off the body of Carter, but he knocks it down, feeds Peacock, and out number one.
That's all you got to do. Just put that big old corpse right in front of the ball, knock it down, throw him out.
That's going to get back to Carter, by the way.
Put a glove on that thigh.
Is that the way you generally teach guys to stay in front of it?
Well, I mean, you're protecting yourself by doing that. You know, you take it on the backside instead of the front side, you're going to be in better shape.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, it's an out. First out here in the second inning. It brings up Curtis Granderson. It has not been a big year for Granderson. Brad Peacock throwing strikes early on tonight. Granderson with a 6-game hitting streak, as you saw. Has a ball and a strike. Granderson's had some big years with the long ball. Had back-to-back years with the Yankees across town here, hitting 41 and 43 home runs. And in those 2 years, drove in 119. Followed by 106. That 119 back in 2011 led the American League. So he was a dominant offensive player. Hits one in the air, right center field. Marisnik under. Jake makes the catch. That's out number 2 in the second inning.
A little bit different ballparks.
Straightaway right field at Yankee Stadium is a bandbox for the left-hand hitters, and for that matter for the right-hand hitters. Brings up center fielder Matt Dendecker. Cousin of left-hander for the Astros, Kevin Chapman. We got a little family feud going on here in the series.
It might be an eventual matchup.
Pretty good looking curveball from Brad Peacock. He brings the fastball for a strike. And Brad has good stuff. That's not any part of what's been in question for Brad.
That's never been a doubt.
Can he bring that stuff for strikes? He gets ahead 1-2. Can he stay healthy? And I think those would be the two main topics. I'm not sure in which order.
Well, it just seems like when things started really going well for Brad Peacock, all of a sudden an injury would pop up, something that would nag him and just kind of, send him backpedaling a little bit.
And we're not talking about 1 or 2 times. It's been kind of a steady flow of that story. And when you look to put your rotation together for a season, you ideally would like to have 5 guys you can count on. Fastball drilled to center field, solid base hit. First for the Mets. Dendecker aboard with 2 outs for Anthony Recker. So Kevin Chapman quietly cheering in the Astros pen.
Can't do that, can you?
Quietly cheer?
Yeah.
I've seen you do it.
For quick games.
Well, you're always trailing one other guy there.
See, if I'm Chapman, I'm in the bullpen. I'm going, man, get this guy out so next Thanksgiving I can give him some grief.
See, then you go around the clubhouse and you tell all the pitchers, this guy cannot hit the fastball. Just throw it down the middle. He cannot handle it. Anthony Recker had a good throw trying to throw out the Astros' Dexter Fowler, but no tag applied, so Fowler wound up with a stolen base. And there goes the runner from first. Pitch a ball, the throw down, a good one, but not in time. Stolen base for Dendecker. That's his 6th on the year in 10 tries. So the Mets have a man in scoring position, each ball club with a stolen base. That throw that's right there shoe top high for an infielder, it's kind of a tough one to apply a tag on. You can drag the glove in front of the bag, or as you saw there with Altuve, kind of a reach to put it there. Can't slap it down. Good breaking ball for a strike.
It's a tough throw to catch when you're moving still. If you're planted and you're in a good ready position, it's a little bit easier just to catch it and drop it. But if you're moving, that is a tough one to square up.
Where did you generally like that throw? Somewhere between the knees and the waist, maybe?
Yeah. You put it right on the knees. It's a good spot to be. Take that short hop out of the question.
3-1 the count. First base open. 8-hitter. The shortstop Ruben Tejada waits on deck. Travis d'Arnaud, the regular catcher for the Mets, apparently now is out of this series. Fastball taken for a strike. Interesting how Carlos Corcoran takes that pitch sometimes. He'll move his body head away from the strike zone and reach back with the glove, and it gives the impression, maybe, at least ideally, that the ball is back toward the plate. Three-two count on Recker.
Just trying to figure out why you're not swinging at a 3-1 fastball down the middle.
Man in scoring position. But he swings on the slider in the dirt, and that's going to do it as Corpy tosses down to first. Second strikeout for Peacock as he gets through the second inning. Scoreless ball game through 2.
The Astros and the Mets.
It is.
The limited edition Astros cap designed by Houston icon Bun B. A new era is now available. To celebrate Academy Sports and Outdoors will be hosting a free autograph signing featuring Bun B and Tony Sip at their 2404 Southwest Freeway location on September 30th. Make sure to pick up your cap today only at Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Astros team stores in Minute Maid Park. Guys.
Thanks, Julia. What do you call Bun B when you have your private phone calls with him?
Oh, I can't even think of something clever.
What is?
You know,
it's already so short and to the point. It's
the truth would be clever. You just call him Bun.
Yeah, Bun.
Yo, B.
That's my boy. B.
Carlos Corporon leads off. Thanks, Julia. And fouls that first pitch. Another one of those years back-to-back now for Carlos where the numbers may not scream at you, but he's done a great job for the team. Corpy now 30 years of age. You would have to go a long ways to find a guy as a backup catcher that does the job as well or better than Carlos.
And with such a great attitude.
Just the whole package he brings. It's tremendous. And I think the pitchers all love throwing to him. Switch hitter. You don't have to worry about that as he taps one foul. Hit the occasional long ball. He's hit 6 this year. Had 7 last year. Not going to be a big offensive guy, but you factor it all in and just an ideal guy on a club. We're in the 3rd inning. The runs, as Blummer was talking about, have been very tough to come by for the Astros.
And they're not exactly facing every team's ace either.
Fair enough. No, you're right. And I think that's one of the troubling things. And Tom Lawless, you know, in talking what Julia was talking about, how he wants the guys to go get aggressive tonight, swing the bats, have some fun with the game. I remember times, and I'm sure you had the same experience, where finally there'd be so much exasperation in a clubhouse and a dugout that the skip just screams at guys, swing the bats. I don't know if you had that experience, but
oh yeah, more than once. Manager goes over to the bat rack and just starts, you know, just shaking the heck out of that thing.
Corpy down on strikes. Out number 1 here in the 3rd inning. That's 3 strikeouts for Nice. I don't know, in today's world, does the frustrated manager say, take some more pitches while he screams it out?
I don't know. He might.
It's different, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, you can give me those guys that drive the baseball and drive in runs. We're in the National League. That means pitchers swing the bats. Occasionally.
Sounds good in theory.
Peacock takes that first strike.
I can't wait till Sunday to see Bartolo Colon go up there and take a whack.
You think was that rotation spot there for Colon, or was he named as end of the season pitcher because he pitches those quick games?
He's mandatory getaway day pitcher.
He'll be ready for that final game of the spring next year for somebody. But I'm not displeased with the choice. So Peacock down on strikes. He gets a spinner up there and unable to make contact. Back-to-back strikeouts, 4 now for Nice. Worst hitting pitcher you ever watched?
Man, there's so many of them.
There are those guys, your own teammates, that I know you've sat there and with teammates chuckled at some weak hacks.
This one is an expo. His name was Mike Thurman, and he was absolutely horrendous.
But he probably told the stories in the dugout with you guys that back in high school he was the best hitter in his league and all that sort of thing.
No, Mike Thurman had a firm grasp on reality, and he knew that he was a terrible hitter.
Oh, really?
And never boasted about it.
I think all the guys that I played against or with that fell in that category, they were all the greatest that ever happened in their high school or college league.
Just happened to lose it along the way.
Yeah.
Huh?
So everybody would say, well, then what happened, dude?
They were playing in those high school leagues where there were no sliders or curveballs.
Illegal to throw anything that spins that way. Whereas those will send you home quickly from pro ball. Robbie Grossman, strikeout victim in the first inning. Has a 2-1 count. Nice works quickly. There's that changeup.
You ready for this?
Sure.
Mike Thurman. Career batting average of .031.
So he got a hit. How many?
4.
Wow.
In 155 plate appearances.
Fly ball down the right field side. Moving toward the line and making the catch is Granderson. So that'll do it. A 1-2-3 third inning for John Nice. We remain scoreless.
And time for a look at the upcoming schedule presented by Progressive. 2 more. And tomorrow it's going to be Samuel Deduno versus Rafael Monteiro. And then Nick Tropiano and Bartolo Colon on that getaway day for the offseason.
Ooh, that sounds kind of good.
Interesting, right? You got any big plans, Ash?
Nothing major right now. I've had got one of my daughters getting ready to have a baby, and
nice.
Had one about a month ago have twins, and so I've got some catching up to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You?
I am going to go into full father mode, and I'm going to be doing pick up and drop off at school, and then I'm going for soccer coach of the year and softball coach of the year.
That's a very good mode to be in.
It is.
Work hard at it, enjoy it.
It's a lot of fun, very rewarding to watch those kids go out there and have a good time playing sports.
No doubt. Brad Peacock set to go here in the third inning, a scoreless game. Yeah, in terms of the coaching thing, I hope you win coach of the year and all that.
It's already a foregone conclusion, let's be honest.
The hardware is yours already?
Yeah, I'm engraving my name on my own trophy.
Well, that's good.
Going to have a private ceremony at my home at the end of the year.
Having seen your daughters around you, I'm sure they would award you the coach of the year, father of the year anyway, no matter what.
If they're smart.
They're smart, I could tell. Fastball at 88, is that the fastball?
Yeah. Tejada was out in front of it too. Wonder if that was that 2-0 BP fastball.
Played with some guys who would just choke it off a little bit and take a couple of miles an hour off. There's that yank heater, and it rears its ugly head every now and then for Brad Peacock.
Yeah, if he could just rein that in and make the adjustment a little bit quicker, he'd have some better outings.
Shortstop Ruben Tejada at the plate. He's hit in 4 straight. Drills one, but hooks it foul. Nice play by one of your buds.
Yeah, that's Stan from Yonkers. Played it off the tarp nicely.
Got behind it. Is that a catcher's mitt the guy had in the seats there?
I'm not sure.
That's anticipating some hot stuff coming down you on the third base side if you bring the catcher's mitt. Count stays at 3-2.
I don't know, but that's some pretty good moss on top of his head too. He's got his own hair helmet.
That cushions the blow when you take the foul tips, I think. 3-2 once again, and again foul back to the screen. Ruben Tejada hitting .234, has 4 homers, and he's driven in 32. Lifetime against the Astros in 10 games, a 194 mark. Does have 3 doubles as his only extra base hits. And the pitch popped. That's heading toward the seats, and again it lands foul. Peacock trying to stay away from a first free pass on the night. Quite frankly, that's an area that has plagued Brad a great deal. He's walked almost 5 per 9 innings.
Yikes.
4.8. Again, the fastball foul back.
It's the same number of his ERA.
Got that ERA at 4.82. So dead on. But I wonder if you could sell him on the notion of cut down the walks to 1 per 9 innings, and you'll come up with a 1 ERA. And you'll make a little more than one should make.
There's some incentive there, huh?
You would think so. Slider on the 3-2.
Come on, Ruben.
Ruben's got the foul ball hack working.
He's up there with half a stick. Need the full barrel.
You know, you look at the numbers on Brad Peacock, less than a hit per inning, 8. Well, that's his career. This year, almost 9.5. So that figure not as good as I was going to try to sell to you. And the leadoff walk. Corpy asked for the swing check. Leadoff walk to Tejada. He's aboard for the 9-hitter. The pitcher, John Neese. And now likely that bunt scenario. Four for 53.
That's getting it done.
That's when you're begging to have somebody on so you can bunt them over. Or bluff the bunt and swing the bat.
They probably saw Matt Dominguez and the rest of the Astros infield shifting early, and sometimes the manager will give the pitcher the opportunity to pull back and see if he can slash one through there.
Ooh, that could have been a strike. And that's the inability of Peacock to hit a target a lot of the time. He yanked that pitch back toward the inside. Where is that pitch? Does that get plate going by?
Yeah, but I think, with Corpy moving his body that much, if he could maybe just stick that with the glove, he might have a better opportunity to get that call.
1-1. Again, the swing and the fly ball to left field. Robbie Grossman with the easy play. Out number 1 here in the 3rd inning. Back to first base is Tejada.
And Nice just did the Astros a favor by not advancing the runner.
You think last series of the season factored in for Terry Collins, or I even wonder if pitchers have the ability to take a bunt scenario and swing the bat? I don't know.
Well, I think the option is there. I've played on teams where the manager will give the pitcher the option. If you see the infield crashing or moving in a direction where you think you can shoot one through the hole, go ahead and pull back and slash that ball through. But in order to be successful at that, you got to get on top of the ball and hit a ground ball. You hit that ball in the air, more potential for an out, and then the runner doesn't move.
When you played third, what was the closest you felt comfortable about getting to the plate on a bunt scenario?
Maybe about halfway down there. I didn't feel like I wanted to get down too far in case like a ball was bunted firm and it got by me. Then I'd feel like not too smart third baseman.
What was the word you initially were going to use there?
Idiot.
Okay, nice.
I was trying to be,
nice.
PC or proper or less.
Yeah, you don't want to be that way.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
And now 0-2 the count on the leadoff man, Eric Young Jr. We had Keith Hernandez in here chatting with us before the ball game, and again, one of the game's great, and I'll say all-time first baseman. He was tremendous defensively and otherwise, but he literally would crash on the first base side and be sprinting as the ball was coming to the plate, and there were bunts on the third base side as a first baseman that he would pick up. They would leave their third baseman back sometimes because he could crash it to that extent.
Baggy did a very good job charging from first base in bunt situations. Lance Berkman, I actually had a play with Lance where he did field a ball on almost that third base side, and we made a play at third base to get the lead runner. Yeah, but those are two guys that I played with that were extremely aggressive. And you're right. That as a third baseman, I kind of lingered a little bit. If I saw him crashing early, I held my ground.
Of course, as a left-handed first baseman, you have that advantage. It's everything sets up better for the left-handed first baseman. And given the chance, and you don't always have that chance, but I'd take the left-handed first baseman in a heartbeat if everything's equal with the right-hander.
No, I'd take a left-handed first baseman any day. They can slap that tag down on pickoffs at first a lot quicker, too.
Young swings through it. He's down on strikes. That's 3 now for Brad Peacock. Second out here in the inning. Brings up second baseman Wilmer Flores, starting that double play towards second base. Just everything is ideal.
Yep.
Tag on the pickoffs. So Peacock changes speeds, gets the strikeout. Flores a strikeout victim in the first inning. Nice play by Carlos Corporon. He was not able to get down to his knees, but somehow comes up with this one.
That looked natural.
Absolutely. Once the feet got back under him. Came to a complete stop. Didn't have his flashers on, though.
No.
Ball and a strike. '24th start of the year for Brad Peacock. And it's the site of Peacock's first major league start right here in New York. Peacock picked up a win in that game, 5 scoreless innings. He was with the Washington Nationals at the time. Brad was not one of those bonus babies. 41st round by the Nationals back in 2006. That's a pretty good arm that falls that far in the draft.
It's pretty amazing that that happens. But some guys just develop a little bit later.
How many other major leaguers do you think we could find in that 41st round of 2006?
You're looking at him.
I think so. That half swing not ruled a strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That'll put the runner Tejada in motion from first. Peacock steps off the rubber momentarily. Nothing confusing about those signs. There goes the runner, and the pitch fouled on the right side. A lot of souvenirs for the folks here this evening. The Mets, with their struggles, have not been a big draw here in New York this year. They're 13th in the league in attendance. They're led by general manager Sandy Alderson. Again, the runner goes. It's ball 4, 2 walks in the inning. First 2 on the night issued by Peacock. And with 2 outs now, it brings up the 3-hitter, Daniel Murphy. Daniel Murphy, not a guy you want to face in this Mets order. He has been one of the real quiet surprises around Major League Baseball in recent years. Tom Lawless letting the players go out and chat things over with Peacock.
Murphy could swing it.
I don't think the basic fan out there knows who Daniel Murphy is, and yet he's been among the leaders in hits around the National League for last few years. 10th in the National League in the batting race. 3 straight seasons of 35 or more doubles. That's the second longest streak in Mets club history. David Wright, who's on the DL now, will not play the rest of the way for the Mets. Had 6 consecutive years with 35 or more 2-baggers.
It's a career 290 hitter, Daniel Murphy is.
So a very good player. Peacock in front, 0-2. Murphy lays off that slider. Playing in his 141st game this year, Daniel Murphy. So he's a gamer, takes it out there night after night, has 171 hits on his year. That pales when you compare it to what Jose Altuve's done. Just off the outside corner at the knees, 2-2.
Good pitch. Pitcher's pitch.
And got him on strikes. Goes the breaking ball, gets the strikeout, his 4th on the night. So Peacock gets through it despite a couple of walks and holds it scoreless.
Altuve. Look at what the young man has done between 2013 and 2014. Some major improvements in that K to plate appearance ratio. Striking out less. BABIP is much higher too at 363. Those balls he's putting in play, and that batting average with 2 strikes is probably the biggest one. 53-point jump in that one. So that tells you he's pretty comfortable no matter what the count is.
One thing that helps him in that regard is he simply doesn't strike out much. 53 strikeouts this year. He's stolen 56 bases. So how many guys can you find with that set of stats?
Oh, we got people for that, and they better be on it.
342 now as he drives one to left field, but not deep enough, or is it? Back right in front of the wall to haul it in, Eric Young Jr. So Altuve drives it, comes up empty. He's 0 for 2 on the night. And when do you start to wonder if Altuve should sit?
Do you think it would be tarnished at all if they did sit him and let him sit on his numbers?
With the total number of hits he has this year, I would think somebody would be out of their mind to try to tarnish anything he's done. But I get what you're asking.
Well, it was just going to be that, well, what if he, you know.
Yeah. Let's check in with Julia, see what she has to say.
Well, on that same note, Tom Lawless is asked about this situation every single day. And Lawless basically said, I'm just going to be in constant communication with Altuve, see how he feels. He's going to let me know if he thinks he needs to maybe stop playing for a while. And then we're watching it as well, and the front office is watching it. They seem like they have all under control. We hope so, guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you control what goes on at home plate from elsewhere, but as Carter hits one in the air to right field, that's 2 down here in the 4th inning. It'll bring up cleanup man Dexter Fowler. Thing about Altuve is you look back at that Texas Rangers series, the 3 games he had only 2 hits, but he hit some balls really well for outs.
No, he did, and that's going to happen throughout the course of a season. But there's got to be somebody, I'm sure, within the Astros organization, whether it's Tom Lawless or maybe even Jose Altuve, understands the fact that he is on the cusp of making history for the Houston Astros, becoming that only hitter to win a batting title.
Dexter Fowler hits one in the air to center field. That'll do it. 3 fly ball outs. And all 3 outfield positions utilized by the Mets. To the bottom of the 4th we go. Still scoreless.
Astros. Follow all the pennant races with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Get this award-winning app for your smartphone or tablet for the rest of the season for only $9.99. Visit the App Store or MLB.com today.
Nice looking yard here in New York.
It's pretty.
It sets up very nicely, and from the booth here,
even worse.
It's Well,
maybe so.
Not sure they actually had the broadcasters in mind when they built this place.
Yeah, they just stuffed us up underneath one of these overhangs, didn't they?
But you know what? We have the quickest route to the media lounge, that's for sure.
I now know what, well, yeah, to the lounge, it's great. Trying to get into the lounge is another story.
Well, we needed pretty much a police escort to get in here tonight.
Circuitous. I don't know. We asked everybody in the ballpark, and they looked at us, telling us to go into the basement.
You're a broadcast. What do you mean? What do you broadcast for?
We speak very loudly.
Not necessarily clearly, but loudly. Lucas Duda leads it off.
Yeah, this place is a lot more appealing to the eye than Shea Stadium ever was, at least for me.
Right next door here. That had to be a sad day when they had to blow that place up.
Oh, man.
Did that require dynamite, or did they just let the rats do the job?
They just pulled one pin and the whole thing came down, I think. Imagine the smells that came out of that place.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oof. Yeah.
Change up just outside. 3-1 the count to Duda. Leading it off. He'll be followed by Curtis Granderson.
I'm just glad that they kept the flight pattern over the ballpark.
Yeah, they have not changed that aspect, so they've kept it real. Drive to right field, but not deep enough. Starting back was Marisnick, then came back in to make the play. Looked initially like Duda, who's the leading home run hitter for the Mets, had gotten one.
Yeah, Marisnick reacting to that big swing. The ball just didn't jump off the bat like you would see on a home run. A little bit off the end of the bat.
With one out, it brings up Granderson. Curtis flied to right field in the second. Just one hit for the Mets. And likewise for the Astros, Dexter Fowler picked up a base hit and a stolen base in the second inning. Brad Peacock has walked a pair, both of those coming in the third.
Victor Martinez is 0 for 1, if anybody's curious.
And hitting .336 as we speak. .342 for Altuve as this one is fouled to the seats. So it's still a 6-point spread right now between the two. Altuve 0 for 2 on his night. And drove one to left field, his second at bat. Flying out right at the base of the wall. That to left field. But the hits have been hard to come by here recently. It has not been the standard Jose Altuve. This one's driven to right field. This one's getting out in a hurry. And Curtis Granderson has launched one to right field, the first scoring on the night. It comes on home run number 20 for Curtis Granderson. 1-0 Mets. That fastball carried pretty well.
That was a good one, Ash.
Do you disagree?
I do not. That fastball did travel pretty good.
Brings up center fielder Matt Dendecker. He had the only base hit for the Mets prior to this drive.
Just a solo home run.
No, if you're going to give them up, that's the way you want it to happen. And you're going to give them up. It happens. When you have a good year, you give up about 1 per 9 innings. Peacock has given up a little more than that.
Just a little bit.
Coming in 1.3 per 9. Two balls and a strike. That curveball's in. Two and two on Dendecker.
Last year, that home run per 9 innings was over 1.5 for Brad Peacock.
And the curveball gets him on strikes. It appears, yes. Home plate umpire tonight is Hunter Wendelstedt, and immediately he was indicating that the drop had come on the exchange. There's your bomb.
Yeah, and fastballs located there are going to get ripped. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, having never been in this ballpark before, you want to wait a little while when you watch one, but when that came off the bat, the immediate reaction was see ya. Not coming back. Anthony Recker at the plate. He struck out in the second. 5 strikeouts now for Brad Peacock, but trailing 1-0 here in the 4th inning. Recker hitting just .207. Does have 7 home runs. And he has a 2-0 count. I don't know.
What are we looking for?
It's a different game is what it is, it appears to me.
This guy's a beast at 6'4", probably 225, and you get a 2-0 heater down the middle, and you're just going to take another one.
I think he did the same thing with a man in scoring position in the 2nd inning on a 3-1.
Then got the 3-2 slider and swung and missed. And now he's in a 3-2 count now. Or 2-2 count, I apologize. Yeah, but I'm just flustered by the fact he didn't swing at 2 fastballs.
If drawing a 2-0 walk is bigger than driving a baseball, it doesn't equate for me. Second time down on strikes for Recker. That's 6 now for Brad Peacock. But on the home run by Curtis Granderson, his 20th on the year, the Mets have taken the early lead.
And 2015 Astros season tickets are on sale now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Get the best value and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS now to reserve your seats. Interim manager Tom Lawless was asked if he was kind of taking everything in, soaking it up as we wind down the 2014 season. He's been with the club since September 1st as the interim manager, and tomorrow is a big day for him as he is set to interview with general manager Jeff Luhnow. He was asked if he was ready. He said, I'm as ready as I'll ever be, as I've kind of been auditioning really all month and wearing his uniform tomorrow for that interview, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. Being around Tom just a little bit here, and we'll get to that as Matt Dominguez leads off, hits the first pitch in the air to left field. Dancing around to make the play is Young, and out number 1 in the 5th inning. But you get the sense with Tom Lawless, it's so no nonsense that I could picture him saying, what else you need to know? Have you seen who I am here in this month? And I don't know. He's a very likable guy.
Might be that first managerial interview where they pull up tape and go, why'd you do this here?
Yep.
Be interesting.
He'll have an answer. I know that.
Would you do it differently next time, Tom?
Well,
he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't think he's one that wants to bring pressure. I think he wants guys to have fun while playing the game. and let it fly a little bit. Marisnick lines one foul down the left field side. 0-2 the count on Jake. Marisnick struck out in the second. And I think overall, from what we've been able to tell, the response by the players has been good to Tom Lawless.
Sure seems that way.
Brad Peacock sweating it out right now as he trails 1-0. Two and two on Marisnick. Jonathan VR waits on deck. John Neese, 27-year-old left-hander, gunning for his 10th win on the year. He's 9-11 coming in, but a nice 3.50 ERA. Breaking ball hit up the middle, and that's out of the reach of the shortstop Tejada. It's a base hit, second hit for the Astros. So Marisnick aboard with his speed for VR.
Kind of nubbed off the end of the bat. Might have been that changeup from John Neese. I think if Tejada comes up with this, that was a little bit of a slider, but he gets it off the end of the bat. Kind of nudges it towards center field. And even if Tejada comes up with this, I'm not sure he even has a play on Marisnick.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. So a squib base hit. VR is 0 for 1 and shows bunt here with one out. VR grounded to shortstop in the second inning.
Really no need unless he feels he can get that bunt down for a base hit and get on base.
Neese picked up a win his last start, that at Atlanta. 7 1/3 innings of 2-run baseball. Line shot to first. Diving catch by Duda, but he can't get back to the base in time to get Marisnick, who very alertly gets back.
That's a good play all the way around. Right idea by VR trying to go the other way. But with that play right in front of Marisnick, he made a good read on it. It's a good look at it.
You know, that might have helped Marisnick, that line drive was coming right at him, so he backed off, and that was in the direction of first base, as it turned out. Carlos Corcoran at the plate. Carlos struck out in the third. 4 strikeouts on the night for Neese. Brad Peacock has struck out 6 through his 4 innings. But Curtis Granderson hit one a long ways for the only run of the night. Max Stassi has a bat waiting on deck now. Don't know what that might be about. Drive to center field in right center and deep in front of the 390 sign. It's hauled in by Den Decker, and that'll do it. So the Astros get a hit and strand a man. 1-0 New York.
leading the Astros by 1. Looking for the perfect way to combine business and baseball, or a unique space to hold your next event? With state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and some batting practice to work off that pizza.
So, Blummer, you like New York style pizza?
I used to. I can't handle that stuff anymore, man.
Brad Peacock has handled things pretty well tonight, other than one pitch. He threw it to Curtis Granderson in the 4th inning. And when it came down in the seats in right field, it was home run number 20 on the year for Granderson. 1-0 Mets. To the bottom of the 5th we go. Ruben Tejada leads it off. He is the shortstop. He'll be followed by John Neese in that 9 spot.
Well, I think we know who that pizza was for. My only question is, did Julia fold it like you're supposed to here in New York?
You know, somebody, who was it, recently got beat up a few months ago for using a fork to eat their New York pizza.
It's dangerous in these parts.
I want to say it was a big-time politician, if I'm not mistaken.
Those guys.
Or actor or somebody of renown.
Rookies.
Don't you dare eat our pizza with a fork. Line drive to center field, but it hangs up. Fowler's there. Out number 1. And that'll bring up the pitcher, John Neese.
Yeah, there's a little more healthy one. Take a bite out of that.
Yeah, you could do the veggie pizza, right?
Yeah.
A little mushroom on there.
You got to fold it up, though.
So you got to fold it and eat it with your hands.
Oh, yeah.
So you got all the technical aspects down. Why is it you can't have it?
I'm trying to not do the dairies and grains.
And you're looking really good for it too, I might add.
Well, then that's all I'm going for. It's paying off, and I'm going to stick to it. It's been good. Besides, I haven't had cheese in a while, man. It could be interesting.
Little looper, that's going to be in center field. So John Neese, who hasn't done a whole lot with the bat, quite frankly, gets himself a 1-out single. That'll bring up the leadoff man, Eric Young. Somebody is going to say to Brad Peacock, you can't throw a guy with a slow bat, a slow pitch.
Throw it right into his bat speed.
Yeah, I never believed that. I
know.
I never believed that line of thinking, but somebody's going to say it. So Neese aboard. You can't throw the 8-hitter a changeup. I'll tell you what, he's an 8-hitter because he can only hit fastballs, was my internal response. But you keep your mouth shut and you nod your head. Victor Martinez has now picked up a hit, and he's up to 338. So 1 for 2 on the night for Victor Martinez. So we're talking about 4 points between Altuve right now.
He's got a 4-shot lead, and he's on the back 9.
You think he needs to get a call from his wife that says you need to come home?
Yeah, you just got to keep playing par the entire way. Just one a day.
One a day would solve it, yes.
Yeah.
Talking about 3 days. I'm wondering if we'll see Altuve in Sunday's game. There's a line drive into left field for a hit. Back-to-back hits by Neese and Young, and the Mets have something going with 1 out. It'll bring up second baseman Wilmer Flores.
Got a logjam at second base, but a good piece of hitting from Eric Young. Keep the carousel moving, so to speak. Good job of staying inside that heater up. And it's interesting, too, about Tom Lawless becoming that interim manager. Yeah, he's done a lot of American League games, but now he's here in a National League ballpark. You get a chance to see what he would do as a National League manager also. That's something every manager has to deal with these days. Granted, a majority of the games will be managed in that American League style, but there's going to be those series where you got to go into a National League ballpark.
I think most managers, if not all, relish the chance to manage in the National League because they actually get to manage a game. They get their hands on, put their stamp on the game. Breaking ball in for a strike. 0-1 on Flores. He has struck out and drawn a walk. Collins has had that everyday opportunity to manage in the National League. Infield playing for two. Fastball at 92. Terry Collins, by the way, managed the Astros from 94 through 96. Went on and managed the Anaheim Angels for 3 years. And now in his 4th year is the skip of the Mets. Fastball's thrown right on by. 1-2 the count.
Still some good life on that fastball. Pitching up in that Brent Strom taut territory.
Kevin Chapman, the left-hander, now getting loose for the Astros. Fastball fouled back. Yeah, that fastball riding up in the strike zone can be very effective. You're not going to get a whole lot of ground balls when you're looking for that double play to get out of a jam. Over the last 10 starts for Brad Peacock, he's had a rough go. 1-4 in that span, 5.82 the ERA. Mentioned that his first major league win came right here at Citi Field, September 14th of 2011. And with tonight's scoreless first inning for Brad, he has not allowed a first inning run over his last 7 starts. All well and fine, but trailing 1-0 here in the 5th inning. Been an effective pitcher in the month of September in his brief career. Caught looking is Flores. Second time he has struck out tonight. And now 2 down for the 3-hitter Daniel Murphy.
We saw it last year. He finished real strong. Came back from AAA with that slider.
Yes. Where has that pitch gone and why?
I have no clue, but it was so effective last year. We had noticed early on this season that he really wasn't using it that much either.
I'm wondering if it's been by design, doesn't get talked about, but he's had issues with his alleged forearm, which usually
really
translated code name for elbow. And that's been seemingly a bit of a plaguing issue. Slider tends to be the pitch that gets blamed for sore elbows. Yeah, I find it really intriguing that in Major League Baseball terminology now, when a pitcher is ailing in that area, it's either a sore forearm or it's a biceps or triceps problem. And now here comes the skip. So Lawless is going to have a double switch scenario. This is what the managers like. They want to manage the ball game. When you have the double switch, you need to come straight to the home plate umpire first, and that's exactly what Lawless is doing. So that spells the end of the night for Brad Peacock. And now Jonathan VR is going to come out. Gregorio Petit is going to take over at shortstop. He will come in and bat in the 9 spot. That's due up first in the 6th inning for Houston. So when you manage in the National League, as now Kevin Chapman should have been summoned already, he will now head in toward the mound. But it means that Petit will lead off the 6th inning. And the pitcher spot will be in the 8th spot. Carlos Corcoran made the final out in the 5th. So Tom Lawless getting to do a little skippering here in the National League. 1-0. The Mets lead over the Astros. Sportsnet is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. And by Brake Check. Every fourth oil change is free, even on synthetic.
Yes.
You're in now.
I am.
Downtown New York City.
They could use some brake checks out here.
But we are not staying in downtown New York City. Jeff Blum got choice of hotel this time around, and he's taking us elsewhere.
Can't put that on me.
No?
That's way above my pay grade.
There's Gregorio Petit at shortstop. So again, he'll bat in the 9 spot. That'll lead off in the 6th inning. Pitcher spot now in the 8 spot for Carlos Corcoran.
Kevin Chapman now on the hill, making his 20th appearance.
You know what? I botched that. It's Jonathan Villar who came out. So the 7 spot is the pitcher. So Chapman on to get that final out here in this 5th inning. Runners at first and second. Daniel Murphy just waving at the slider.
That'll help you out.
It's been a well-pitched ball game. Or at the very least, low scoring. _20th appearance on the year for Kevin. He's been allowing over 9.5 hits per 9 innings.
That's not good.
Factor that in with the number of walks he gives up, and he's well over 1.5 base runners per inning pitched.
Eesh.
And that's hard to factor in as one of your late inning guys out of the bullpen. Chapman primarily has been get the left-handed guy, left-handed hitter kind of guy coming out of the pen, but he's also had struggles trying to get that lefty.
And again, another guy that just, it's all control. Stuff is there. He's one of those left-handers that throws in the low 90s and has a pretty good slider.
There have been plenty of left-handers with success through the years that didn't throw hard. Just effective getting those left-handed bats. Chapman gets this one. Little fly ball lazy into shallow center field. Fowler's there and makes the catch, and that'll do it. So Murphy retired. Mets got a couple of hits and leave a pair, but they lead it. Tom Seaver talking baseball theory. He says if you dwell on statistics, you get short-sighted. If you aim for consistency, the numbers will be there at the end. And I think Tom Seaver had a lot of things right. Blummer, you and I got to see Tom Seaver a photo on a wall here at Shea, and his delivery point is about as low as has ever been seen, at least for an overhander in the game.
I remember watching a couple games he pitch, and like the knee on his drive leg would be dirty by the end of the game. Got down there so low on that push-off.
Not many have been able to pitch from that position, but Tom Seaver did it so well, and I had a few at-bats against him, and it was no contest.
I think there were a lot of hitters like that.
John Neese set to go here in the 6th inning, 1-0 Mets. The Astros just 2 hits on the night. No, Jose Altuve doesn't have either one of those. They've been picked up by Fowler and Marisnick. Gregorio Petit leads it off. This is the 9 spot in the order. And again, it's the pitcher in the 7 spot now. Two balls and no strikes on Gregorio. Astros have got to find a way to get something going offensively. Very quiet series with the bats in Arlington. Petit had only 2 at bats in that Texas series, went 0 for 2. He was 2 for 4 September 21st against Seattle. He's been pretty successful when given the chance, and he gets a base hit as he leads off here in the 6th inning. So Petit has the Astros' 3rd hit of the night. He's aboard for Robbie Grossman.
Such a good feeling to come off the bench and get a knock. Hang around there for a couple innings. Now you're 1 for 1. Mr. Bill Brown just texted me about Tom Seaver and said that knee that you saw him pushing off with was always dirty, and he had to wear a knee pad on it to protect it. He was down there so often.
Petit goes, the throw down, not in time, but then they get him as he goes past the bag. Petit wants a review of this one, and I'm not sure Tom Lawless is quite ready to come out and exercise his.
Is it me, or are these plays now that are close turning into like pass interference for the NFL, where everybody just stops, throws their hands up, and goes, "Oh, I was safe. Look at it."
I think it's you.
Okay.
No, you're dead on.
No, it's amazing to me how every close play the player pops up like, you got to check that.
Well, Tom Lawless is doing what all the managers have been enabled to do. He comes out, he's going to chat things over and await word from the dugout. Apparently from the dugout there is not the same belief that Petit has.
He was out. He tagged him on that left arm. See right here, he's safe. The arm comes off, and Flores right there, looks like he gets him on that left hand before the right hand gets in there.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's been a heck of a time for Wilmer out there trying to tag base runners, huh?
So it goes 2-4 on the caught stealing. And now there's some concern about John Neese on the mound. Terry Collins, the skipper, training staff, pitching coach, the entire infield, all joining out there. And what are we going to determine on John Neese? So even though Petit was initially safe at second base, he does not get a stolen base. He is caught stealing, out number 1 in the 6th inning. And we will simply wait to see what happens here at the mound. All the scoring on the night took place on one swing back in the 4th inning for New York. Curtis Granderson, with 1 out, launched his 20th home run to right field, and that's been it. And apparently that's it for John Neese as well. So he will work 5 1/3 innings tonight, leaving nobody on base. So there's nothing to charge him with. He is done for his year with 5 1/3 scoreless this evening. He can only win it or have nothing to do with it, and not a bad spot to be in. We will be right back as the Mets go to their bullpen. As the Mets go to their bullpen, a pitching change. 2 games are all that stand between Jose Altuve and history as he goes all in for the Major League batting title. Pregame Live kicks it off Saturday night at 5:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Tomorrow night's pitching matchup is brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. And in this big interleague rivalry, you're going to see Samuel Deduno making a start for the Houston Astros tomorrow against Rafael Montero. Some pretty hefty whips right there going at it tomorrow night. A chance for Deduno to throw his hat into the possible 5th spot in that rotation maybe next year. See if he can work some magic.
What's your pregame guess on game time for that one?
Oh, 4:35.
Yeah, well,
got those September bullpens backing them up.
Speaking of bullpens, Carlos Torres is going to get it loose. He gets all the time he needs to loosen this thing up. He's a 31-year-old righty. Jeff Blum knows all the intricate details on Torres.
You want me to prove it to you?
Do it.
This is going to be a 72nd appearance. He's given up 11 home runs in 94 1/3 innings pitched. Anything else you want to know? He's got 2 saves out of 4 opportunities.
Right out of his head.
He is striking out close to 1 hitter per inning.
Walking encyclopedia of baseball, Jeff Blum.
Can't stop me. You can only hope to contain me.
There is no containment ability here at Citi Field in New York. So we will just let him roam wherever he chooses to with that encyclopedia. What you been doing here in your, what, day and a half? 2 days.
I don't know if you can technically count yesterday as that day off or a full day, because I was in,
we got to the hotel about 5:15 in the morning, I want to say.
That was rough. And I show up, my key doesn't work. I got to go back downstairs, get a new key. I go up, air conditioning isn't working. Go back down. Actually, you know what I did is I just opened up the windows in my hotel room. And I went to sleep. I was so tired. I woke up at about 11:30 and went downstairs and had to change rooms because of the inability to fix my air conditioning.
Well, you weren't the only guy. I was hearing some other whining sob tales about what went on with rooms once we got
It's rough,
the
man. These creature comforts, we need them.
It is, yeah. Yeah, if you can't sleep at 5:30 in the morning when you've flown all night long after doing a ball game in Arlington, Texas, then it's on you, pal.
It was on me. But eventually I got out, wandered around a little bit. That is the first opportunity I've had to really cruise around Brooklyn. Been to a couple restaurants in Brooklyn, but to actually get down there and cruise around and see what's going on in Brooklyn, it was so much different than what we're used to in Manhattan.
Manhattan is, I mean, you can turn any direction and there's something good going on there.
Yeah.
Maybe bad going on there as well. But a little bit different with the present location for the club. Why did you choose that hot spot?
I think because the United Nations is in session. And it was tough.
Is that what's going on downtown?
Yeah, it was tough for me to find a hotel room for everybody out there. Well, they seem to jack the prices up here in New York when they get all these guys coming in.
Well, you've done a fine job, and
it was the delegation from Estonia that took our hotel.
These guys look like they got enough rest. I don't know about Mark Krause. Mark Krause may not have gotten enough. Maybe he had the same bad air conditioner, key won't work sobtail that other people had.
Well, sorry we didn't get the presidential suite that had everything working in it and a full buffet when we got in.
Yeah, that's true. We did not. Robbie Grossman leads off, or rather bats with one out here in the 6th inning after Gregorio Petit led it off with a base hit and then was thrown out trying to steal. Robbie takes a strike.
There's a game going on.
So what else you want to know about Carlos Torres? Again, he's 31 years of age.
Have we gone over his pitches yet?
He takes a long time to warm up when there's that opportunity to throw all you need.
Well, that seems to be the MO for most guys coming out of the bullpen. And I know that he came in on an injury type situation, but if you come out of that bullpen, you are apparently going to take your sweet time.
2-2 the count.
So Carlos Torres is going to throw you fastball about 90, 92 miles an hour. He's got a cutter around 90.
So how would you remember that?
Just off the top of my head. I write a book on everybody I've seen in the big leagues.
Line shot down the right field side. Robbie Grossman is going to send it to the wall. He's into second base. He'll hold it there, a one-out double. Second hit here in the inning for the Astros, but they have just the one base runner. And now with one out, Jose Altuve comes to the plate looking for that first hit.
We know he likes hitting with runners in scoring position. There's that little cutter kind of floated out over the middle of the plate. Robbie just dropped those hands on it, turned on it. Good piece of hitting. Gosh, I think I saw something on Altuve with runners in scoring position. Maybe last 5 at bats, 5 straight hits.
That is correct. He has been on a nice little string recently with men in scoring position.
That has been good.
14th double on the year for Robbie Grossman. Not an overly large figure when you consider this is his 101st game played. Well, he's got over 400 plate appearances on the year. Robbie's had a pretty full season. He's at second. Altuve, who got his first 2 opportunities against the left-hander Nice. And Blummer talked about the numbers for Altuve on the year against left-handers. He has torn them up, but took an 0 for 2. And now faces the right-hander Torres. Batting average at .342. Victor Martinez 1 for 3 now. He's at .337. So a breath of air just puffed in between the two. 5 points the spread. Is it going to be enough?
This is kind of exciting.
Can Altuve get hot?
You know, sometimes towards the end of the season you start watching scoreboards. Now we're actually watching AB to AB for these two guys to see who's going to win this thing. No matter what, that crown's going to Venezuela.
Yeah, there's no debate there.
It's kind of cool.
4th straight year for Venezuela to win that American League batting title. That is amazing. Ooh, that was your basic hanger right there on the 2-0. Tigers, by the way, are hosting the Minnesota Twins. And the Twins are leading at 6-3. They're in the 5th inning. Timeout called. Altuve will adjust those batting gloves and the helmet. Get himself ready. It seems to me that the really hot Altuve has been the guy that goes to home plate and just lets it start flying. Not a guy who works counts and tries to get deep and all that sort of thing, but a very aggressive hitter. And it's resulted in an absolutely amazing season for Jose.
Truly. Yeah, they're going to be talking about this one for a very long time in Houston. There's a good article on MLB.com about Jose Altuve and John Maley and how they worked to get to this point.
Breaking ball fouled off. Jose waiting just a bit too long. He's had 68 multi-hit games, a franchise record. 24 games with 3 or more hits, a franchise record. And in all cases surpassing Craig Biggio. Biggio had 23 3 or more hit games in 1998.
What? 23 3
or more hit games, and Altuve has 24 of them this year.
Good grief.
Isn't that amazing? Line drive, base hit down the right field side. Here comes Grossman to the plate. He'll score without a throw. RBI single Jose Altuve, and the Astros have caught him at 1, and Jose Altuve has that first knock of the night.
223 hits now for Jose Altuve, 6 straight base hits with runners in scoring position, creating a little separation between him and Victor Martinez. And a swing that only Jose Altuve can replicate.
Just kind of flips that right hand over the left.
And that's it. Everybody has a 9-1-1 swing, but his 9-1-1 swing actually turns into hits.
He doesn't wing it with that front elbow coming up. He gets the barrel through the baseball.
Yeah, for a guy that's only 5'6", maybe, he does an incredible job of getting on top of the baseball.
You know, that one swing right there could go a long way to wrapping up this batting title.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by 9-1-1. There's a swing that Altuve goes to when things don't go well for him. He's had a tough stretch out there in Texas.
Ball hit to the gap in left center field and deep, and nobody's going to get there. One hop up against the wall. Altuve sprinting to third. He's being waved home. Here comes Jose, and the throw is dropped. Altuve's got to get to the plate, and he does. And the Astros have jumped on top 2-1. RBI double Chris Carter. It looked for a moment like Altuve was not going to get back to the plate.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see. I'm not sure. I'd have to watch a replay again because I wasn't watching the home plate umpire. If he waved him safe initially when that ball had dropped, that would mean that he touched home plate. But this ball smoked. Another hanging slider from Torres and torched by Chris Carter. Gets in that gap, and Altuve hustling the whole way. If that ball's held on, I think he's out. But watching it, he did wave him safe, so he did say he touched home plate. So there's really no need for him to get back to home plate, apparently.
Well, he must have seen the ball drop right away, because I was with you. I thought the tag, if ball was held onto, was going to have him out. Did you see it otherwise on that last one?
No, I thought he was out until he dropped it.
So I'm curious as to what it was that Hunter Wendelstedt saw. Did he immediately see the ball? Yeah, he saw the ball dropped. And so, well, the problem is you're not safe until you touch home plate. So that should have been a no call unless Wendelstedt was saying you've touched home plate. And that safe call could actually be interpreted by the defense as there's no need to go back and apply a tag.
Yeah, that's the same way I saw it too. Usually the umpire, and Hunter Wendelstedt went to third base, so the first base umpire came down towards first base, and came down towards home plate, and that was Will Little. So usually if nobody's touched home plate, there hasn't been a tag applied. There's usually no call until somebody is either tagged or touches home plate.
Let's watch Jose Altuve once again, what he does so well.
It always seems like his feet are moving, but the behind is moving.
You know what's not moving is the head.
It's not, and the hands. The head is always on the baseball, and the hands are always back. You never really see his hands moving forward, even though his body might be.
That's 89 RBIs now for Chris Carter, 58 for Altuve. And the Astros have taken the lead, and now apparently hit by a pitch is Dexter Fowler. So the Astros, when the Mets have gone to the bullpen now in the 6th inning, having some success, and Fowler is not enjoying things at the moment. 5 hitters have come to the plate in the inning. Not a one has been retired, and yet there's 1 out in the inning. Nate Lucero, the head trainer, out and trying to help in some way with Dexter.
This is never good when it's up around the hands. Nope. See a catch that bottom wrist. Not much. Dexter doesn't have much meat on him, period, but get down towards those wrists and hands, and there's not much meat down there either.
You know, there's a term you hear a lot about. It's the forearm shiver, and that might have been the definition visually of the forearm shiver.
Yeah.
Dexter's going to head on down to first base. I'm a bit surprised under this scenario, but good on Dexter. Carter remains at second base. 1 out for Matt Dominguez. 2-1 Astros here in the 6th inning. And 6 Houston hits on the night. 4 coming here in this 6th. So John Neese will not win it tonight. He'll end up the year with 9 wins. The Astros trying to win their first game on this final road trip of the year. Dominguez pops it foul on the right side. We're told that John Neese had to come out of tonight's game with an elevated heart rate.
That's not good.
Apparently that's happened before for John Neese. That would seem a little bit dangerous. Matt Dominguez 0 for 2 on his night. Lined out to third base in the 2nd inning. Matt hitting .215 now. And again fouls at first base side. Yeah, if that's happened before with a pitcher, you would think, or any player, you would think that they'd be highly alert to that scenario.
Yeah, I wonder how they let him go out there and pitch, considering he has a condition like that.
Oh, 2 the count on Matt. Torres, the second pitcher on the night for the Mets. If you're just stopping back in with us, Jose Altuve has singled in a run here in the inning. Chris Carter with an RBI inducing double. And now 2-2 the count. The double, by the way, by Carter, just his 21st of the year. Torres brings the 2-2. And getting a piece and spoiling is Matt Dominguez. With the 1 for 3, Altuve is right back to 343. We've got Victor Martinez at 1 for 3 on his night for the Tigers. He's at 335. So all of a sudden that's back to 8 points now. Get it back to 10 points and you can let Altuve play every game, not worry about it, not say a thing.
Yep.
Ground ball right side, that finds the hole. Into right field. Carter around third. Coming to the plate. Here comes the throw. Cut off. And now they've got Matt Dominguez hung up, and they've got him. So 9-3. Let's see. Who was that toss to? 9-3-4 on that putout. So RBI single Dexter Fowler. It's 3-1 Houston. And 2 outs now for Jake Marisnick.
Just go with it, Matty D. Take hits any way you can right now.
So that's a big hit. It leaves at third base Dexter Fowler. 2 down.
It's a pretty good send by Pat Listash down there at third base, running right in the face of Curtis Granderson out there in right field.
Pat's done a nice job all year long, and he works with the infielders. Former Major League Rookie of the Year, National League rather. Marisnick fouls it on the first base side. Jake's 1 for 2 on the night. He has struck out and singled. He's kind of squibbed one back up the middle in the 5th inning. It eluded the shortstop Tejada. And now the Mets with a right-hander. Eric Goodell loosening it up.
Roger who?
Are there lawyers standing all around Goodell out there?
We found him.
See the little animation. I don't follow the cartoon things.
Oh, come on, Ash.
Saw it on the news today or somewhere, maybe last night on the net. We'll get to it if it comes up again. Jake Marisnick down on strikes, but the Astros pick up 3 big runs in the 6th inning. Altuve and Carter coming up with a couple of those hits. Matt Dominguez with a big one in the inning. It's 3-1 Astros on top of the Mets as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Lead at 3-1 over the New York Mets, who scored only on the Curtis Granderson home run in the 4th inning. Citi Field, and it's very nice. It lives up to the billings. Kevin Chapman is still on the mound. He came on and got the final out of the 5th inning, getting the left-hand hitting Daniel Murphy, and now faces the left-handed bat of Lucas Duda to lead off here in the 6th. Curtis Granderson, another lefty, follows. So we'll see how long now Kevin Chapman stays on here in the 6th. Jonathan Neese has nothing to do with the outcome tonight for the Mets. 5 1/3 scoreless. Kevin Chapman immediately falls behind 1 ball and no strikes on Duda, who's 0 for 2 on his night. Jose Altuve 1 for 3 on the evening. Line shot. That's into center field for a base hit. So Duda leads it off with the base hit. And now here come the Mets.
Pretty good piece of hitting. Gets him a fastball away. Just stays on it. It's a laser to the other way of that shift.
Yeah, right through the shortstop position. And now Granderson at the plate. He's 1 for 2. Home run number 20 on his year came in the 4th inning. And it gave the Mets the 1-0 lead. Astros trailed until the top of this 6th inning when they strung 4 hits together. In fact, 5 over the course of the inning, along with a hit batter. They had a caught stealing in the frame. They had Matt Dominguez picked off rounding first base after his RBI single. So only 1 batter made an out in the entire top of the 6th. Astros lead 3-1 with that frame. So how has Kevin Chapman done against the left-handed bats? They're hitting .275 against him on the year, and they've added to it with the base hit by Duda. But Granderson flies out. First out in the inning. Let's check in with Julia.
Thank you very much, Ash. Chapman will try to get his first cousin, Matt Den Decker, out right here. For the first time, they're facing off in a regular season game. Here they are when they were kids. They were very, very close, grew up about 1.5 miles from each other. They were teammates in college and lived together. And, of course, best friends to this day, basically brothers for these two. Chapman doesn't have a brother, and here they were catching up today. The grandparents are here. Their mothers are sisters. Lots of family here for this one. Special moment for this family, guys.
Thanks, Julia. That's got to make it really tough. Who do you root for right now? I guess you can play that game. Well, let's let Matt get the base hit, and then Kevin can get the double play. That kind of thing ensues. There you go.
This is for the turkey leg.
Cousin v. cousin. Yeah, who gets to sit at the head of the table?
We're going to find out here.
Who found the most Easter eggs way back when?
That is what Julia needs to ask. Inquiring minds want to know.
Who was the dominant cousin among or between those two?
I know who's got the better beard. How many wiffle ball matchups have there been in this between these two? That's the question.
And who would claim between the two that he was the better hitter when a youth? I would go with anybody who's a pitcher presently. He would lay that claim. It may not be anywhere close to true. And now 3 balls and a strike. We're in the 6th inning. Again, the Astros trying to win their first on this trip. It has been a scuffle. And there's the 1-out walk. That'll put runners at first and second and bring up Anthony Recker. And there are some bragging rights there now at Thanksgiving.
It's kind of disappointing. Got to at least get a hit. You can't really go up there and brag about a walk.
Certainly can't brag about going 3-1 and then walking your cousin. So it's going to bring out Tom Lawless. He has pointed to the pen already. The Astros will bring on their 3rd pitcher of the night, as Kevin Chapman has done. He leaves a couple of runners on base here in the 6th inning, as Anthony Recker, the catcher, is due up for New York. So Chapman heads to the showers. 3-1.
Time now for the AT&T Rewind. It's Brad Peacock's evening here at Citi Field. Wiley was in there. He did himself pretty good. Showed good location on the fastball, occasional slider down and in, but that breaking ball was working nicely for him. He only had 2 walks and 7 strikeouts, but the thing that jumps out at me is he only went 4 2/3 innings. You like to see Brad Peacock really extend himself and get deeper into these games.
You know, that's intriguing that you bring that up, because that was part of the conversation we had. Can you get Brad Peacock to stay healthy? Can you get him to stay away from the walks? And in the process, cut down the pitch count and get deeper into ball games.
Well, I wonder how much of the history and the paranoia about that came into play when Tom Lawless thought about bringing him out of the game. He's like, you know, he maybe walked a guy or maybe gave up a hit, and now he's like, oh boy, here we go. It's starting to unravel. I got to go get him.
That's going to weigh on managers' minds. If you have a reputation as whatever it may be, that reputation sometimes is more real than the reality behind a guy. Anthony Recker stands in. 1 out, runners at first and second. He is a big guy, but we've seen him to be a bit of a pacifist here this evening.
He's allergic to fastballs.
He says all the while, meaning that's the pitch a major league hitter should be jumping all over.
Well, we've all had considerable slumps. You know, you're playing the big leagues long enough, but still, when the fastball came over the plate, I was taking a full hack at it, especially in hitters' counts where we've seen Recker take some good fastballs to hit.
Jorge De Leon brings the heater right by him. And by the way, to get through those 4 2/3 innings tonight for Brad Peacock, he needed 96 pitches. So he was close to the end of the line one way or the other at that point.
Yeah, that pitch count just explodes on Brad Peacock.
Little thumber headed toward center field. Fowler comes on, slides and makes the play. Very nice play defensively by Dexter in center, and that's a key second out here in the 6th inning.
Big play considering the situation. Keeps the runners from advancing. Run scores easy on that one if it falls.
Pretty good focus on the baseball. And you can see the catch was actually made before the slide, but that slide kind of helps settle your eyes down under the baseball. 2 outs. It brings up the 8 hitter, Ruben Tejada. He's the shortstop. He's walked and flied out. Nice job by Corpy. So what does tonight's game do in your mind for Brad Peacock? Anything as he tries to become a part of the rotation for next year?
Yeah, I mean, you saw flashes of brilliance. 4 2/3 inning. The number that jumps at me is the 7 strikeouts. He's got the strikeout stuff. It's just how does he get to that point?
Are you okay having a starting pitcher who you can't count on every time through the rotation, and when he does pitch, typically has a hard time getting to 6 innings?
That, for me, sets him up to be a better middle relief guy. Because you put those 4 innings in the middle of a game, that
the
helps you
left
out.
side, backhanded it short. Petit with the play on to Altuve, and they get the 4. Sorry to cut you off, but that'll do it as De Leon comes on and gets a couple of outs to end the 6th inning. So the Mets had a rally going, but De Leon strands them. They leave a pair. It's 3-1 Houston through 6. New York City. Astros lead 3-1 over the Mets, first of 3 over the weekend, and then it's kickback time for a while. All the ball players will get to work very soon, but looks rather tranquil, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Beautiful shot right there.
Who had that assignment with the camera? Where is he now? It's nice.
He's at Luger's having a nice big steak right now, probably.
Luger's, is that the hot spot here in town?
There's a good place in Brooklyn. Yeah, yep. Luger's restaurant. Yeah, they go. They have a bacon appetizer plate that they come out with, and remember the one we had on a stick?
Is that for people or dogs?
This thing is for several people, but it was bigger than that bacon that we had on the stick one time.
Wow.
It's impressive.
That, wow. Look who's got a bat. John Singleton leads off here. This is the pitcher spot. We're in the 7th inning, 3-1 Houston. Originally Jonathan Villar's spot. Tom Lawless made a double switch on the night, so all is complete for the skip with Houston. So John Singleton hitting 168, has 13 bombs on the year, 44 ribs. I think this is a pretty good way to use John. You get him a couple of at-bats anyway, right down the finish. Fastball spotted well. It's 2-2. 3 runs on 7 hits for Houston. 1 run on 5 hits and an error for the Mets. Curtis Granderson of New York has the only home run of the game. Line shot on a hop, but gloved it short by Tejada. He'll take his time and get Singleton. And so, Big John had a pretty good swing. Hit the ball sharply.
Contact is a bonus right now. Ball was hit well, too.
Tell me what you think.
That was a relatively short, quick swing. That was a very good 2-strike swing.
Yeah, a high fastball, which generally has been thrown by the bat of Singleton. So some pluses right there. Carlos Corporan is 0 for 2 on the night. Yeah, that's pretty good quality at bat. That remains the pitcher's spot in the batting order. Torres, pitcher number 2 on the night for New York. It's all about the bullpens now. Corpy fouls it off. Carlos sees the batting average at 237. And that bat is not going to be used a whole lot more at this point.
That was not one of the smarter things I've ever seen in my life. I see some slow motion explosion. It's a good look at how a bat breaks.
He didn't have 32 ounces to use there at the end of that swing.
You know what I loved is how the bat ends up near the pitcher's mound. I know several pitchers that would go over there and grab right where the pine tar is with their pitching hand to pick it up.
Yeah, that would be pretty intelligent, actually. Little pop fly down the left field side. It drops foul. And I don't know if it was untouched, but a great effort by Young. Kind of diving, sliding into that area. Corner outfielders. It is not a romp in the park from my perspective.
No, those stands go jutting out towards those foul lines real quick here at Citi Field.
I always question the comments about, well, we need to save this guy by taking him from center field and putting him in the corner. In the corner, you wind up like this sometimes.
Yeah, that didn't look comfortable at all. Yeah, Stan knew the drill. He evacuated immediately.
How soon will you and Stan hook up after the season's over?
We'll go out for a cup of coffee tomorrow, I think.
Oh, cool.
Just for old time's sake.
That's nice. 1-2 to Carlos. There's Stan.
Yeah.
Is he signed on a long-term deal?
Oh, these guys, they're lifetime contracts.
3-2 to Corpy.
Until he has to go away to college.
See, I wasn't aware of that fact. That's really nice to be able to find out tidbits like that. He looks like he doesn't have a care in the world, so I guess you're right.
It's funny, those guys stick around long enough, they almost turn into part of the team.
Turning into a part of the base running experience now for the Astros is Carlos Corcoran. So Torres gets ahead but can't prosper with it. 1-out walk brings up Gregorio Petit. Petit has had just one plate appearance. He singled in that one in the 6th inning, then took off stealing second base. He got there ahead of the throw, but he slid on by the bag and was eventually tagged out. So a caught stealing in that 6th. 1 for 1 on the night. Infield plays for 2 at short and second. We have not seen a double play tonight on either side. Torres set, and now 2-0. So Torres not getting along with the strike zone here in the 7th. Yankees are in Boston, leading over the Red Sox 3-2 in the 7th inning. Did you take in the Derek Jeter experience last night, his last home game for the Yankees?
Not personally.
Pitch is popped up near second base. And the second baseman Flores with the play, out number 2 here in the 7th.
I was at a local establishment with a couple guys from our truck watching both the football game and the baseball game, and out of the corner of our eye you kind of see those 2 home runs by the Orioles tie that game up in the top of the 9th inning, and it's set up nicely for what was a perfect send-off at Yankee Stadium for the captain. How about you?
Well, I saw the highlights. I left that to Yankee fans last night, but this was the way the game ended, as the captain in his final game in New York singled home the winning run on a walk-off version, and the script has played out pretty well for him through the years.
It's amazing how it works out like that. Can only imagine how loud it was when he got that hit.
Keith Olbermann must have been at the top of his lungs. 0-2 the count on Grossman.
Pretty incredible stuff. And he's not playing tonight in Boston. Rumor has it he's going to DH on Saturday and Sunday.
See, I thought he was going to play as the DH, but yeah. He had made the comment that he wanted to respect the Boston fans. Well, I'll bet this has been the longest season by a country mile for Derek Jeter this year.
He's got to be exhausted.
How many gifts can you be handed over the course of a year and feel comfortable with it? 1-2 on Grossman. No doubt there's been a huge amount of glad handing and smiling for the cameras, and I guess all part of who Derek Jeter has become. I'll bet he'll be glad to get it over with, at least for a while.
The guy's done everything right.
Yes, he has.
Professionally, on and off the field.
Yeah, you're right. Whether he's one of the greatest shortstops of all time, I guess some people can debate that. Strike 3 called on Robbie Grossman. He's caught looking to end the 7th inning. And as the Astros go down in the 7th, leading it 3-1, along with the rest of baseball fans, we say goodbye to Derek Jeter in that Yankee pinstripe.
Lead the Mets 3-1. And as promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tonight it is Barry Ross tweeting a pic of his daughter Freya. And some, oh, you know him. Look at Orbit in there. Great pic. Tweet your photo to hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast that is brought to you by AT&T. We have seen several different players take the outfield for the Astros this year, but outfield coach Tarek Brock very happy from what he's seen from everyone that's been able to get an opportunity out there. He said at the beginning of the season, he told all of his outfielders, I want you to trust me, but I want to have to earn that trust. This has to be a good relationship for it to work. He immediately worked on his relationship with Dexter Fowler in center field because, of course, he is the captain out there. And then Brock dealt with some injuries with those outfielders. Like I said, opportunities from some other guys. George Springer missing a lot of time, Fowler missing a lot of time, and then he's been extremely impressed with Marisnik. But as for next year, guys, he said they have an idea of who they want in all three outfield positions. But of course, with some of the surprises like Marisnik and how he's been able to play all three positions, Presley as well, Grossman showing his versatility, but it might be a little more interesting than we think. Back up to you.
Thanks a lot, Julia. I thought Julia was actually leading us into Tony Sipp coming into the ball game with the left fielders who have played for the ball club this year, but
I did too. He played a solid right field in Arizona too.
Opportunity missed, Julia. So we'll talk about Tony Sipp for a moment as he comes on, pitcher number 4 for Houston. And yes, he has been a former corner outfielder for the Astros this year. His first fastball is popped in the air, shallow center field. Altuve called initially, but called off by Fowler, and out number 1. So a quick out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, I think it's going to be intriguing, and the obvious is the makeup of the outfield next year is going to, in good part, have to do with what happens with Dexter Fowler. Does he wind up staying with the team, and if so, does he wind up playing in center, or do the Astros go to a couple of the younger, faster stallions to take over in center and right, and Fowler move to left field?
I would have no problem asking Dexter to move over there. He's an asset in the lineup. He gets on base quite a bit. You'd like to see him steal a couple more bases just to get into scoring position when he does take those walks. But at 275 on base percentage, maybe 100 points higher, 375 or close to that. Those are nice assets to have with some of the thump that you might have behind you. But for me, Jake Marisnik, even George Springer are my 2 top candidates for center field.
Remember the play Springer made in center field at the ballpark in Arlington earlier this year. Back to home plate, running, crashing against the wall as he made the catch. And of course, we've seen, I don't know how many off the chart plays by Springer this year. I think he and Marisnik can go get the ball as well as anybody we've watched this year. And therefore, I think one of those guys, in our minds anyway, becomes the center fielder.
Yeah, I think so. And if I had to put it my way, I would have Dexter Fowler. I'd bring him back and put him in left field. And put Jake Marisnick out there in center field with George Springer out in right, just because George has been playing there. I think he's got that prodigious power numbers of play at that right field corner position. And Jake Marisnick, if he could hover around 280 and you got George Springer hitting the ball out of the ballpark, I think that's a formidable outfield that's going to go out and even save even more runs out there on defense.
You know what? I don't know who between Marisnick and Springer would be the best defensive center fielder.
It's kind of a toss-up. I agree.
But I think you can make a really good argument based on what you just said about Marisnick being the center fielder. Center fielders are not counted on for the huge offense like a corner outfielder. And Springer, therefore, becomes kind of the prototypical great right fielder if things fall into place for him, if he makes strides forward. And so, yeah, that's it.
And if you did flip him, Jake Marisnick's arm in right field is no joke.
Yep.
So that fits into that right field mold too. But I just like the way he roams around there in center field.
He is probably the best throwing outfielder the Astros have. Although I will say this, Springer, who at times was a little tentative with his throwing, has a very good, strong arm.
He does. And he does a good job of getting to the ball quickly to make that strong throw.
Yeah, he does. Now Dexter doesn't throw like the other two guys, and I'm not so sure that he ranges quite like the other two these days.
Well, and that's part of the reason I decided that I would be able to move Dexter Fowler to left field, is because if you take all of the numbers and the data that they have these days and you look at ultimate zone ratings, I believe it's called, Dexter Fowler is not one of those guys in center field that is going to lead the pack as far as zone ratings out there.
Yep.
And I think Jake Marisnick could turn into one of those guys that could go out there and go get the ball in the gaps.
If I may say so, I completely agree with you. And
so it took us 160 games to get to that point?
To where we agreed one time?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently so. Ground ball on 2 hops to short. Petit's there. He'll make the play. And out number 2 here in the 7th inning.
This is what you really want to see. You want to see George Springer with a bat in his hands, unleashing the fury on some of these AL West teams. He did a great job pounding on some of these teams. That was a big game up there in Seattle, but he's not going to cut down for anything. He's going to go out there and see how far he can hit the ball every time he takes a swing.
Have you seen him physically recently? He's got thicker, and I wonder about the speed, but man, can he hit a baseball. And I think all of us involved with the ball club just can't wait till he gets back on the field. It's felt like an entire season without George Springer.
It really does. It really has felt that way, and it's going to be exciting to see him have a good offseason and come into spring training healthy, and then watch him for a full major league season. That could get real interesting with some of the numbers he could put up.
I ran into George at the hotel yesterday.
Did you hurt yourself?
I would have if I actually hadn't put on the brakes, but here's some of the defense from George. And I mean, I don't know how many of these plays we saw, but in my opinion, nobody went after the ball quite like George Springer.
Yeah, no, I agree. Some reckless abandon, but he's a young kid. He'll bounce back on. That's that play in Texas you were talking about.
Yeah, that might be the best player of the year that I've watched.
And it's great that he is so athletic and so good that I think he even shocked himself on that catch. Wow.
You really shouldn't be able to pull a ball by that margin right there, but
that was a wicked googly.
Wilmer Flores at the plate did. Tony Sipp trying to get through a 1-2-3 7th inning. So yeah, I mean, you could talk the merits of George Springer forever. The one big negative, of course, was the strikeouts this year. Is he inclined to want to cut back on that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's just one thing you're going to have to wait and see.
Got him swinging. So it is a 1-2-3 7th inning turned in by Tony Sipp. We've played 7 from New York. It's 3-1 Astros leading over the New York Mets.
for Mako, big hit of the game. And hello, it's Jose Altuve again. Hit number 223, backed up by his counterpart, who's been hitting the ball quite well in recent months. Perfect combo right there. Altuve on base with an RBI, and then Chris Carter driving him in with a double.
Kirby Puckett was a guy that put up some tremendous numbers in his stellar career. 223 hits, as Jose Altuve has matched that figure. That goes way back to 1986. It's almost hard to believe that much time goes by.
You know what's interesting? Is that Altuve at 5'6", Kirby, if I can get this thing to work, 5'8". So there's some little guys right there that are able to hit that ball pretty well.
You're calling 5'8" little?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but Kirby weighed in at about 240, didn't he?
Wow.
Maybe not. He was stout.
He was stout. He got it done, too.
What did we say? 69th tie for all time in terms of hits in a season? Yeah, we're getting the affirmative on that. Our guys in the truck know all.
I am so thankful for them.
Nice going, Carlito. Hank Aaron had a season with 223 hits. Hank Aaron in 1959 could run. And he's got one of the most amazing lines when you look at his career with the home runs and how he would hit 40. Jose Altuve, first pitch swinging, pops one up. Shallow in center field. So Altuve has a 1-for-4 hit night. I guess that would be a 1-for-4 night as he pops out here in the 8th inning. 1 out. Astros on top 3-1. It brings up Chris Carter, who is 1-for-3 on his night. Each guy with an RBI. But in terms of Hank Aaron, the 40 home run years that he put up, pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Truly amazing.
He was never one of those guys that went 50 plus and all that sort of thing. He'd go about 44, I think, was the number that came up repeatedly for him.
That's amazing.
And he gets to, what was it, 756 career, 755 career. Got a ball and a strike on Carter. 7 hits for Houston, 5 for the Mets. Good swing by Chris. Eric Goodell is the new pitcher for New York. 25 years of age. California boy, like so many major leaguers. Carter down on strikes. 2 down here in the 8th inning. That's 7 strikeouts of Astros hitters. That'll bring up Dexter Fowler.
1959, Hank Aaron hit 355 and his OPS was over 1,000.
How many home runs that year?
I don't know, 44 probably again, like he did every other year. 39 home runs.
39 that year. I'm going to guess he had 123 ribs. That wasn't a guess, by the way.
Oh, hum.
I was going to throw out close to 50 doubles, maybe 40 some odd doubles and 46. That's just a guess. That happens to be right on the money.
You're a good guesser.
Guessing gets, you know, a lot easier when you've got somebody talking in your ear.
Say, between the internet and that little buddy in our ear,
yeah,
we have a chance to be pretty good.
It's only a chance, mind you.
Yes.
54 strikeouts. Who do you think he is? Joe DiMaggio?
Good grief. How do you put up those kind of numbers, only strike out 54 times?
Well, that's what Altuve's doing. And then you throw in the big swing for the power, and it ought to change things. Apparently it didn't. 94 blown on by. 1-2 the count on Dexter.
How was he third in MVP voting that year?
Somebody must have had a pretty good year.
My goodness.
That wasn't Ichiro's first year.
Ernie Banks.
One of 2 or 3 MVP years for Ernie.
I think it was 2.
I know he went, or I believe he went back-to-back. Attendance tonight, 27, 7, 29.
Ernie hit 45 home runs with 143 RBIs.
Love that summer at Wrigley when the wind starts blowing out.
No wonder he wanted to play 2. Those kind of numbers he was putting up.
I bet he didn't say that during the month of April when it was freezing cold there.
Man. Yeah, there's some rough months in Chicago.
I bet when he came to the ballpark in the middle of July and it was 92 degrees and the wind was howling out to center field and everything carried, I bet he wanted to play 3.
You say play as many games as you can when that wind's blowing out, that's for sure.
You almost couldn't keep a fly ball in that yard on some days. Fowler draws the walk. It comes with 2 outs, brings up Matt Dominguez.
I hit a ball there in Wrigley Field off Mark Pryor, and I literally put my head down in disgust and looked up to see the first base umpire giving me the home run sign. That was a good day.
Wasn't Mark Pryor the guy that had the perfect delivery that would never hurt himself, that didn't last very long?
How'd that go?
Not all that well, apparently. Yeah, you can look at those deliveries. I mean, we're kind of dancing all over the place, but you can look at those deliveries and try to figure out who's going to stay healthy and who's not, and good luck with that.
Just never know.
And then I think somewhere along the line I heard somebody say, well, when I first saw Mark Pryor, I knew he would not stay healthy.
Yeah, there's always that guy.
Of course you did. Dominguez swings through it. 0-2 the count.
What kind of year did you have in 1959? There's some good names on this list.
I got off to a slow start and then went to grammar school.
I'm sorry, Ash.
Crush me, brother. Dominguez fouls it off. Eric Goodell, by the way, as Blum tries to figure out something else to nail me with, is in his first year in the big leagues, just his 6th game now for New York.
How about the 7th vote getter in that 1959 NL MVP voting was Roy Face.
Elroy Face. I think he went like 16 and 1, 16 and
18 and 1.
18 and 1 for the Pirates.
It's pretty good.
It's funny, I could tell you stats from those days a whole lot better than in recent days.
Can you tell me how many innings he pitched that year?
Oh, I couldn't begin to, but I'll bet it was. He was a closer.
Yeah.
And I would bet it was over 100 innings.
93 1/3 innings.
Okay, I lost the bet.
It's all right.
But that's a lot of innings for
wow,
for that back guy in the bullpen.
Well, who was with the? Was it
Mike Marshall?
Mike Marshall with the Dodgers.
120, maybe more innings than that. 100 and
it's pretty incredible stuff.
Might have been more, yeah. There goes Fowler. Pitch is grounded to short. Circling to his right, Tejada. He'll make the play, and that'll do it for Houston in the 8th. They leave a man on the walk to Fowler, but the Astros on top of the Mets, 3-1.
Get out your running shoes and join us at Minute Maid Park for the Badges and Bases 10K, 5K run presented by the Astros Foundation and the Houston Police Foundation. It's this Saturday, the 27th. There's a kids fun run for ages 12 and under, and all participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt. Register at astros.com/race. I'm kind of bummed I can't be here for this tomorrow. I'll run for him tomorrow on my own.
You run every day anyway. What's the difference?
I know, but I want to be there.
You could Skype.
Skype run?
You know what, Julia? No matter where you go, you're always here. You're always, you know. Thanks, Julia. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Astros lead it 3-1. We heard from Gene Diaz, Astros director of PR, and he says it's hard to believe, but Mike Marshall, who Jeff Blum was just talking about, pitched over 200 innings en route to the Cy Young Award in 1974. He won 15 games as a reliever in 106 appearances.
That is ridiculous.
I mean, you couldn't even begin to believe that in today's game. Thanks, Gene. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. 3-hitter Daniel Murphy at the plate. He's 0 for 3. Tony Sipp working a second inning, trying to get to the numbers of Mike Marshall. I think he's going to come up just a bit shy this year. Okay, I'm going to ask Gene right now. What was the first official year where saves were counted as a stat? Let's see if we can get that response.
How do you throw 208 innings out of the bullpen?
How do you pitch in 106 games and not have your arm fall off?
Yeah.
And you're not coming in to face one man. I mean, guys will tell you that pitch out of the bullpen, that just the warm-up session is enough to, you try to get it all the way heated up. And that's tough on your arm.
He had 92 appearances the year before.
Hit in the air, left field. Robbie Grossman back and toward the line. He'll make the play, and out number 1. Gene appears to be stumped.
Either that or he ran to the fridge.
He won't last in that stumpified state of mind, though. One out for the cleanup man, Lucas Duda. His Mets are a little heavy on that left-hand side of the plate, and therefore kind of easy to run with left-handed pitching. Shift on in the infield. Duda took advantage of that with a base hit in the 6th inning, lining one through shortstop. Gene, we're counting on you.
All right, Ash.
Yeah.
Can you name the 4 teams that do not have or have never had a batting title winner in their franchise history?
Well, I know one of those is the Houston Astros, which is kind of hard for me to believe.
That's one.
Okay, so 4 of them have never had it. So I'm going to guess the New York Mets.
They've had one.
Oh, really? I figured it would be one of the teams that hasn't been around a long time. So how about the San Diego Padres? Oh, they've had Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, he won
like 17 times or so. So let's move on. Colorado Rockies, of course, they've had one.
Yep.
How about the Florida Marlins?
They have one.
Wow. I don't know where to turn.
Well, you could go down the turnpike
to Tampa Bay.
Yes, that's another one.
Okay. So how many do we have? 2?
2. Astros and Rays.
Right on the fist. Hit in the air to center field. Fowler comes on. And there's 2 outs on fly balls here in the 8th inning. Tony Sipp not having a problem at all. He'll face the left-hand hitting Curtis Granderson.
I think the other team, or one of the other teams, came in the same time as Colorado.
Oh, well, that was
Tampa
that
Bay?
was the Florida Marlins.
Another National League
No,
West.
that was Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay
Tampa
and
Bay.
Colorado, but there's another National League West team that's relatively new. in the state of Arizona.
Arizona, the Diamondbacks. So they've never had one. I feel like you're leading me somewhere.
Well, you got 3 out of 4.
Yeah, all on my own too, by the way.
Congratulations.
You know, I never was.
That is all you taking all the credit again, Ash.
Never was good at the pop quiz. Okay, so there's another team that's never had a batting champion.
This one surprised me.
Wow. I don't.
Hanley Ramirez won for the Florida Marlins.
Getting that. Here's a strikeout of Granderson, and it's a 1-2-3 8th inning. 9 punch-outs by Houston pitching. We go to the 9th. Astros on top, 3-1. First of 3 as the Astros and Mets close out their season. It's Christy Miller.
Yeah.
Works with the Astros back in Houston, and
road trip.
Comes on the air every once in a while with Bill Brown. She dropped her phone. She's going to need a new one.
She's in line for the iPhone 6 now.
iPhone 6. Yeah.
It's all right. They just go right back to form.
You know what? I've been using the Windows phone and having a great time, but I'm so out of the hip crowd in that.
May want to sanitize that thing.
Why is that?
Have you seen the floor of a ballpark?
Oh, her, yes. Okay. Jake Marisnick leads off for Houston here in the 9th. 7-game hitting streak turned into an 8-gamer with a base hit in the 5th inning. Jake is 1 for 3. 3 runs, 7 hits for Houston. 1 run, 5 hits for the Mets. It was a big 6th inning for Houston that got them on the board. All 3 runs coming in that frame. They had 4 consecutive hits to start the inning.
Told you, 2 errors in this ball game for Listash.
There goes the Gold Glove.
It does.
Astros had 5 hits in that inning. They had a hit batter. They had 2 base runners thrown out on the bases. And yet, with that 3-run inning, they lead it 3-1. Marisnick has a 1-2 count. You know, he talks fundamentals with the guys, but then he doesn't move his feet right here. It's all about, you got to get the feet in position, don't you?
Can't lay that ball, son.
Now, are you trying to sound like a broadcaster or an old coach?
No, that's from the movie Major League.
Okay. Let's see. Gene gets back to us.
Hello, Gene.
Save became official in 1969.
Really?
However, was used for years as an unofficial stat. And not sure what the first year was that it became official. So we have a partial thank you to Gene for that partial response, I guess. Marisnick down on strikes. First out here in the 9th.
Speaking of partial answers, you got 1 more to go over there, buddy.
Oh, I do, don't I? One of 4 teams that never has had a batting champion. So I guess we're going to have to go with a team that's been around a long time, and I would just go on a guessing parade. How about Seattle's Mariners?
No.
Milwaukee's Brewers.
Milwaukee is the answer.
Ah, hot dog. I don't have to sit here and guess for the rest of the evening.
Ichiro won a couple batting titles up in Seattle.
That's true. That's an obvious one. You mean when he got 262 hits, he won a batting title?
Yeah, I think
with that
so.
cheap stuff?
Might have been the first one.
Wow.
But how does Paul Molitor and Robin Yount and Cecil Cooper not pick up a batting title?
You know what? Robin Yount, I think, is a 280-something lifetime hitter.
Yeah, but he had how many MVPs did he win?
I think a couple. Paul Molitor was the guy you couldn't get out. Robin was kind of big game James of his day. A little bit.
Yeah.
He put up some big stats. He was roamed center field very well. I remember him when he came up as a skinny kid at shortstop. A hot shot hooked foul by Alex Presley. His first plate appearance of the night. He's a pinch hitter here in the 9th inning. Two balls and a strike on Alex. Astros hitters have struck out 8 times tonight. And out 2-2. Still Goodell on the hill for these New York Mets. The Astros still trying to win their 70th game of the year. They're 69-90. It's been Brad Peacock, Kevin Chapman, Jorge De Leon, and Tony Sipp. The Astros have a right-hander loosening in their pen. It's just about the distance down to Manhattan. Chad Qualls is that right-hander.
Yeah, that's quite a ways away. Take that 7 train in when you get called.
I don't have zoom in my visual focus. And on the hands. 3-2. Carlos Copron got the start tonight as the catcher. He waits on deck. Oh, Victor Martinez, yes, is 1 for 4 on the night for the Tigers. So he did not have a big night. That's the very same number that Altuve has put up tonight. Both guys 1 for 4. Presley down on strikes, 2 in the inning. 9 on the night for Astros hitters. So where does that leave our 2 batting title chasers?
So 336 for Victor Martinez, and as we stand here, 342 for Jose Altuve. So a 6-point lead with 2 days to go.
Is that comfy
potentially?
For you?
Yeah.
How many points did Victor Martinez pick up on his average yesterday with 3 for 4?
Oh man.
Well,
such a test.
There's a shot to center field and hauled in by the center fielder. That's Dendecker. And that'll do it as the Astros go down 1-2-3 in the 9th, trying to protect a 3-1 lead. Presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. We are in the bright lights in the Big Apple. And the Astros in game 1 of the 3-game series lead it 3-1 over the Mets. We don't actually come up with any of the information ourselves here in the booth. We just get it from others. Bill Brown has notified us that Victor Martinez picked up 3 points on his 3-hit night yesterday. And so, yeah, it's a 6-point spread between the two. 2 games to go after tonight. Both Altuve and Victor Martinez 1 for 4 on their nights tonight. I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready to say it's relax and enjoy the batting title time, but I sure hope it works out that way for Jose. Chad Qualls comes on in relief here in the 9th inning. Pitcher number 4 for Houston. Make that pitcher number 5 for the Astros. Brownie gets back to me, and I'll get to that in just a second as Qualls gets set to embark upon the 9th. He faces Matt Dendecker, who grounds the first pitch foul on the first base side. Let's see. Here's what Bill Brown has to say. If Altuve does not have any more at bats this year, Vic Martinez needs to go 6 for 8 to edge him by a slight fraction. That would be 342 in each case, but it would be a fractional marginal victory for Victor Martinez. So, yeah, 6 for 8. Not out of the realm of possibility for a guy of that ability. Fastball just inside. A ball and a strike. Thanks, Brownie. Thanks, Gene Diaz. Ground ball right side. Altuve on the outfield grass makes the play. And out number 1 here in the 9th inning. So Chad Qualls gets his first man. That'll bring up the 7-hitter, Anthony Recker. The catcher is 0 for 3 on the night. A couple of strikeouts. And then robbed by Dexter Fowler on a fly ball shallow to center. The 3 Houston runs coming in the 6th. Pitcher of record would be Kevin Chapman, I believe. No, it would be Jorge De Leon. I believe De Leon is the pitcher in a position to pick up a W tonight. 0-2 the count now. Anthony Recker has been anything but a wrecker with that bat. There's not a single hitter on either side tonight with more than 1 hit. And now 2-2 the count. Jose Altuve has an RBI. Matt Dominguez with a ribby. According to the box score I'm looking at, they didn't give an RBI to Chris Carter. And a strikeout of Recker, so that's 2 down here in the 9th inning. So it was an E2 that enabled Jose Altuve to score. So no ribby for Carter. I had said that was his 89th ribby of the year, so take that one back.
That's too bad.
But Chris still needs a couple of ribbies to get to 90. And I would think that would be a figure he'd love to get to. So we're down to an out. Ruben Tejada, the shortstop, stands in. Astros pitching with 10 strikeouts on the night. Ground ball to third. Matt Dominguez right there. This should do it. And that is it. A 1-2-3 ninth inning turned in by Chad Qualls. He picks up the save. Jose Altuve didn't have a big night, but he did get a hit, and that helps in a big way. Win number 70 for the ball club, and they finally get over that hump. They are now 1-3 on the road trip. 2 games remaining as Jorge De Leon wins his first major league game. So some good things going on for the club here this evening. 3-1 Astros win over the Mets.